Hello and welcome back to EsportsWales. Today we are playing someone I've put in the wrong position because I forgot to transition this properly. Let me sort that out quickly. How do you pronounce that? I can't remember the name of who we're playing, but it seems complicated.
Primordials.
Primordials.
It's a bit primitive, maybe. Is that what you're digging for?
Yeah.
So yes, hello everyone. Welcome back to the EsportsWales channel. You're joining us for week 2 of Balance. Sadly, we did not get to cast week 1, but here we are for week 2. We will be catching you up with week 1. I don't know if we had the match history prepared for you guys or not, but we can talk about it all the same. So our first caveat is that our standard jungler Slinny is sadly unavailable for our first 2 weeks, so we're playing the same roster as last week, but don't worry, it went very well. So Zypher, our normal top laner, he's down in the bot lane giving support. Why is he giving support? Because Mars is moving to jungle to cover for Slinny, and our substitute player Felix is here in the top lane.
Just a few flexes around.
Just a couple of mix and matches, but everything seemed to go well. So we're banking on the same solution again for this week. Let's take a look at the compositions as soon as I find myself in the right place to find them.
Do you want to run through last week? So I do have the curated transition ready, and boom!
Oh, let's get it.
Look at that! Look, production value has upped this week. Oh, did someone say get that mana raise? I believe they did. So as you can see, this is us versus Garlic Bread Mafia. This is the first game, I believe. As you can see, a pretty dominant victory, I believe. Not really much to say other than Furore just smacking people up in that top lane the whole game long and just converting that across the map, right?
Yeah, just strong priority, right? It felt like all of the lanes were winning. Sadly for Garlic Bread Mafia, they didn't really get much foot through the door. There was a couple of skirmishes or dives where they were able to get some trade back kills. You can tell it's not the cleanest of games, 19-8, but still, it was dominant. Mars picking up a 0-death 8 kill on Trundle as well. A lot of just benefiting out of the plays he was saying out there with the pillar.
Trundle.
Of course, moving on to
it was in the first game.
I'm looking at them backwards. That'll be right. Spoilers for game 2.
Oh no! I wonder what Mars picked in the second game. Don't worry, guys. We
free channel points to anyone that can guess.
Transition into that. Oh, look at that! So we have a Trundle. We also have a Poppy support. Poppy support, a very strong pick, especially with these dashes. Look at their team's dashes. You can interrupt the Alistair engage, the Echo engage. I mean,
the recast on Ornal as well was particularly spicy.
Yeah, even the Yasuo dashes. So honestly, a great pick. I don't know if it was on purpose or what. I think Zephyr has a comfort to that. I believe he plays that top lane. But either way, I mean, I love Poppy support. I think it works really well, and into this team comp, it was the perfect pick, really.
Yeah, I was actually super excited to see it. As soon as I saw it, it's like, oh, I absolutely love this, because I think the Alistair was already locked in, as well as the Yasuo, and they ended up going bot lane together. So it's like, oh, that lane is just negated. Poppy's definitely something I'd like to pick up as well. But yeah, perhaps, I don't know if you have anything more to say about these 2 games, but maybe we can transition talking about these drafts or compositions or games straight into what we expect to see from Primordials.
Yeah, I think the big thing is we have prioritized 2 big picks here: the Furore and the Xayah. Xayah recently got buffed, and I mean Furore. I think that's it. That's his main. I'm not too sure, but either way, I think it worked out really well for us. Going into the next game, I'm excited to see what ER picks out into this. Yeah,
I've had a brief look at Primordial. Sadly, they lost their game before. I forget the team they played. They played 2 games of Trundle, and that was something I was curious about, because of course we played a game of Trundle as well. And with Mars in the jungle, I know he's secondary jungle, but I'm not 100% convinced of how wide his pool is. I know Slinny's pretty well versed. It seems the champion pools that they're playing is the same as well, because of course Mars brought out the Zins Alpha game 1. Game 1. As well. So maybe there's a high priority on Trundle. They had also a very good performance on Trundle, but then the next game was also a little sour for them, Lozzie on the Trundle. So maybe a little bit priority there. I'm not sure what their secondary priorities were. They lost 2 games to the Vega, which I'd love to see banned, as probably people well know by this point. So maybe jungle's the first place we could look at.
Yeah, Viego, obviously that strong pick. Mostly played in the jungle nowadays. It's due to falling off in the solo lane, but I hope to see it really. I think it takes a lot of mastery of all different champions to be able to pull it off effectively. And if all goes wrong, you just spam your R button and get those resets. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game. I will say that there is a slight rank difference favoring Yara in this game. I'm looking through, and I'd say the average rank of Primordials is about Gold 1, whereas we're more towards the mid-plat rankings. So feeling pretty good going into this game. Obviously, the rankings don't really make that much of a difference as long as people play together as a team in 5v5s, but still really looking forward to this one. I haven't really got any prior picks for the Primordials. I haven't really looked too much through them. Scrolling through now, I'm just seeing maybe a couple. I've seen a Wukong pick, Senna support, surprising. I would be surprised if they pulled that out in a 5v5 setting, but I'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same. I've been playing a lot of center support recently, even just before then. Going live, we were talking about center support, and those in the EsportsWales channel would probably have seen in the League of Legends chat talking about those marksman supports. So something we'd like to see, maybe not something we were expecting to see there.
Yeah, not to flex, but as someone who got ranked 218th best center in the world in the last 30 days and 46th in EU, I really like that champion. No flex, just saying that just because I can.
No flex, but there's a but in there.
But yeah, I feel like it's quite a hard champ to pull off. I feel like it takes a lot of teamwork to be able to get that champ to work effectively. I don't know if it's going to be as effective in this ELO, just simply because people probably won't know how to play around it as much, knowing how to play around that, the ulti, calling for it, waiting for a heals to come up, waiting for that shroud, playing around that shroud to stop engages and stuff like that. So be a fun pick to see, and honestly, I love it, and I'm really hoping that it comes across. I mean, I am seeing someone who's been playing a lot of Lucian ADC. As we know, he recently got changed from being put in the mid lane to ADC, sort of a force push.
Yeah.
His damage can be a bit surprising, so that'd be a new one to look for.
Yeah, and it pairs a lot better now with the enchanters. And looking at the match history here, there's a game on Karma and a game on Nami, so it's definitely something that their support's willing to pull out here if they wanted to lean back towards that Lucian. Of course, the buff you're mentioning is the passive now gets additional AP damage whenever you are basically enhanced or enchanted by an ally's effect. So it is basically a built-in Ardent Sensor, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the Master Tree, they have been drafting a little bit wild. I have seen the Kale flex in their match history, so that could be a fun one to look out for. If Team Yar are listening, I suggest banning that champion because they'll be waiting until level 16 the whole game long. But yeah, I think I'm surprised that they play on this account when they're all playing together, but it really gives across exactly what they're going to play. So hopefully we've done our drafting due diligence. I believe we have drafted in a coach for Yar. I don't know who they are, but if you want to name drop them, you can.
Yeah, so we're currently working with a coach somewhat provisionally. He goes by Connor on our server, so I know him as Connor. Looking at the chat, yeah, they've definitely been prepared. They're in the Valorant School with them now just to help them out strategically with the draft and between the games, but also to watch the games as I had beforehand before coming to cast. So yeah, there's Connor who's joined the spectators as we talk about him. Hi, Connor. So yeah, review so far, pretty happy. The team's pretty happy with the results. So looking to perhaps improve on those results because week one went pretty well. Let's see if we can see the influence here in draft, which we're probably not far off of.
Yeah, hopefully not far off of, but as we know, Valorant, they take it a bit slow. It's a bit laid back, this environment, you know. No one wants to rush too soon. No one wants to get into that game ridiculously fast. It's just about taking your time, knowing what you need to do. No pressure. Oh, and straight as I say this, they've gone straight into draft. Let me transition us over. Oh, the production value is ridiculous here.
Seamless. Absolutely seamless. And I will seamlessly call... our top laner here is currently banning Felix just because it makes my life easier. One, it's shorter. Two, I'm not going to get flames for it. I'm sorry, Felix. I know you love your summoner name.
I wouldn't shorten it.
Go through balance,
but by the sounds of it, he's happy with the length it is. I wouldn't shorten it.
Well, we're not happy with Wukong being available, as that's the first thing off the board. We mentioned the top lane pool. Maybe there was a Wukong player, so maybe not a Wukong player this time around. Swain also being taken off the board, so already we're starting to see some of the maybe what teams are planning to play around by taking or targeting particular lanes.
Swain ban's interesting. I don't think anyone, not to my knowledge, I don't think anyone in YAR plays Swain, but I'm still happy to see it banned. I'm a Swain support advocate, so great to see. Wukong, I believe that's because it counters Fiora, and it's quite a hard lane for us, so happy to see that go on. Really try and get this Fiora pick through. I wonder if he's going to first pick it. That's what he's prepping for. Draven bans. If anyone who's played recently, you know that Draven had that that change to his passive. The execute nowadays is ridiculous. As soon as he gets a couple stacks, all of a sudden then he can two-shot your ADC. And I mean, what else can you do? He just cashes in his gold and doesn't really care.
Yeah, me and my pre-made were talking about it. And we really love the kind of style of that buff to Draven, right? Because he finds it so frustrating that if the enemy bot lane's just turtling, or you're kind of stuck in this position where you can't overcommit for a kill because you're aware of jungle presence or something like that, the benefits to Draven and his passive basically never exist, and you just become super anxious about losing all those adoration stacks. So the fact that those stacks become damage, so you can guarantee cashing them in maybe a little easier, is super nice. So of course, understandable that was going to be taken off the board. Seraphine, another one of those just constants, I feel like, now in the game. Maybe on some patches it's down, some patches it's up, but it's super flexible. And I think LeBlanc kind of almost fits in that category. It doesn't really matter what meta is in LeBlanc, just super potent, super powerful, and is very much a style of Harry, very much a style of Yar.
Yeah, just to counter what you're saying about that Draven pick, I think it was more like a reduce the crybaby idea, because so many Draven players, as we know, if they don't get a kill, they all of a sudden turn very vicious and can get quite annoyed. So hopefully we can see some good picks. Xin Zhao picked up LeBlanc, two very powerful picks, as we've seen. Harry loves that LeBlanc.
And it seems he'll be facing against an Ahri, assuming that it's not going to be flexed. Ahri's not something I've seen a lot of. I remember playing a lot of games at the time that I was spamming a lot of Zoe in my life playing against Ahri's, and it felt like a pretty good matchup. I know from games I have played LeBlanc into an Ahri, a good Ahri can make that quite painful. Of course, as soon as you want to distortion onto an Ahri, you can just get charmed. So the trick here with the LeBlanc is to position yourself behind a minion to start with, and then distort at an angle, because normally you predict the distortion straight on, but if you're distorting at an angle, there's a chance that the charm will miss you as long as you go wide enough to dodge the hitbox. So there's intricacies normally favoring Ahri in this case, but there is opportunity here for Harry to try and flex his mastery of LeBlanc over here. Assuming so, Thomas is going to pick that one up for mid lane. Xin Zhao, again, one of those junglers we're talking about. We talked about it a lot. A lot of my casts recently have been, well, I guess we're just default to Xin Zhao. They did hover the Lee Sin. Of course, it's been nerfed by 2 AD, a whole 2. Not count them both, not 1, but 2 AD. It's going to be dropped in priority here as Jarvan's the pickup for you.
Yeah, for sure. That 2 AD is really going to influence him so heavily and put him out of the game, but yeah. As we're seeing,
I suppose his piece is E cooldown going up by 2 seconds as well. Ooh.
Yeah, strong picks from both sides though. Seeing the Xayah come out, not really surprised with her recent buff, how powerful she is, and the pro we saw on it last week. So I wonder if going into game 2 they might try and take that away from us. But overall, it's going well.
Yeah, I got a little bit distracted. I heard a massive missing ping in my head as I think Primordials managed to miss a ban there. Not even something hovered, I think. So
I guess they just don't need it. They're feeling
I guess
themselves.
they don't need it. Could have just at least banned Brand at that point, I suppose.
Ben needs to do that to him. Mad Lions, no.
Oh no, Mad Lions, no. But still, now taking off the board, pinching that top pull just a little bit further. I know, looking at the match history, that their previous opponents banned Wukong and Nara against them. They had no other bans to spare. I think they locked in their roster late. So the 2 bans that Primordials were playing against before was the Wukong and Nara, and they'll see the same 2 bans again, this time accompanied at least by 3 other bans, maybe not one of their own. Malphite taken off the board. I think there's a fair respect. I'm not too sure if it's 100% necessary in this composition, but I would, of course, be terrified of a Jarvan plus Malphite ult combination.
The Nautilus ban.
So fair enough, though.
Nautilus ban's a bit interesting here, because I really don't think it poses much threat to Xayah in the early game. When she hits that 6, Nautilus ulti really doesn't affect her. She just has to blow ult every time, and it's just an ult for ult trade, and maybe they're just a bit scared of Primordial's power on that champion, but
Yeah, I was thinking you ban the Nautilus, right? Because it probably pairs super well with the Tristana, but of course the obvious counter to, or the secondary option is Leona, right? Which is basically the same threat or problem. So I'm now maybe looking for Zypher here with the Poppy, something that he
Yeah,
played last week
I'm
super
expecting the
well, and
Poppy.
just Leona lane, Xin Zhao and Ari, all of them kind of suffering
Thresh over.
into that Poppy pick. But I don't hate the Thresh here either. Of course, the Flay can have the same effect if you are very much on the board. Lantern, of course, will help a LeBlanc or Jarvan that maybe oversteps, or Isaiah to reposition for those feathers. Thresh just super, super powerful and super potent. Nerfs included, I still believe he's perhaps one of these strongest supports regardless.
Ooh, the hover and the kills. They know that they think that they're going to pick the kill, so they want to take it away from this last pick. Could be interesting. Yes, that's going to really help them actually. Thinking about this J4, he's going to dive in. If he can build, he could literally build full damage J4, and Kel could just ult him as he goes in, do that damage, live and heal back up. Crazy with the Gore Drinker on J4 because you're locking them into that range, being able to guarantee that heal. So looking forward to seeing that pick come through. Trindamir picked up as a response. Trindamir's going, hey, you can go invulnerable, but I can auto attack whilst I'm invulnerable. So who's better?
So now we have the full rosters locked in. We can start to talk about the compositions as a whole. We already started to talk about it in Yard, right? Combinations between Kel and Jarvan and Thresh being able to really supply the rest of the team with the utility he needs. Maybe now we can talk about Primordials whilst we have this 3-minute delay. I'm a little bit curious. The team doesn't seem to be maybe as cohesive, but what I will say is that all of them love going forward and they do all of that super well. So I'm concerned that if Yard finds skirmishes that maybe they wanted with all of these early game powerhouses like Xin Zhao, Tristana, and Leona, it's going to be difficult, say if a Charm or a piece of CC comes in to follow up. And then, of course, getting out is so much harder into a Xin Zhao, Ari, Trist, and Leona, with just the immense amount of chase and fun.
Yeah, for sure. By looks of the draft, they just want to go forward. And to be fair, I mean, we've got J4 to counter the engage but with LeBlanc, but we also have the Zai who's just going to be able to sit on his backside and be protected. So they want to go forward. Zai counters that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. Maybe they just have to retime that engage properly to be able to get it to work. Or maybe they're just going to play sack in the bush and wait for people to walk into them. But so far, my money is on I think that they've drafted better and have this lead.
Yeah, it's something you're saying, right? Both Azire and Kel have this ability to just bait out and engage, be able to tank the kind of forward, especially on the two carries, right? If they're going forward, you don't want to really be attacking the Jarvan. You don't really want to be attacking a Thresh. But if Kale is on Kale and if Zaya's in the air, you haven't really got too many other options. So it's very much up to these teams playing coordinated, I guess, to make sure that they're finding the right targets. But more importantly, at the right times, right? Being able to get a Kale ult down or a Zaya ult down and then be able to pick that target later on before that cooldown comes up. Or, conversely, making sure they're playing around having these ults up, making sure that they're getting the right engages they're looking for. They're not going too far in or too alone because you don't want to be facing down that team by yourself. So yeah, going to be a curious one in that case. Maybe then we can break it down lane by lane so we can have an idea of what to expect when we come to those team fights, those 5v5s.
I'm pretty sure Kale will struggle in the early game, right? Because she's looking to get that range form as soon as possible into Trindamir. He's probably going to get away with a lot. Right? I'm not expecting the Kale to come out of the gate, swinging, winning that lane. I think as it goes on further and further, Kale should start to win it, but then again, late game, Trindamir, he just presses R and should just be able to chase after her no matter. So it gets a bit scary there, because both of those champions are heavy scaling. As far as jungle matchup goes, Xin Zhao used to be a pickle ban jungle, right? But J4's risen a lot with his recent buffs and Xin Zhao getting slight nerfs, but enough to be able to push J4 just into this position where he has so much more team fighting cohesion with every other champion. So it's like, what would you rather have, a 1v1 duelist that is insane in the jungle, or have this massive team fight R that can change everything? LeBlanc Ari, I'm putting my money on Harry here. I think he just knows what he's doing on that champ. He's played counter matchups all the time on it and done it insanely well. So I've got to say, it must. I think it's just and that bot lane. As long as the Zaya plays back, the Thresh is sitting on her ready to flay off this Tristana Leona. I think it's good. Is there any lane that you think would be pivotal for a win on either team?
I believe mid lane's perhaps the most important, right? It's very much the topic of League at the moment when you're talking about a meta, the mid jungle synergy, like you're talking about, right? Putting your faith here in Harry to make sure that he wins this lane. I feel like if you're saying that top lane's behind, into a Tryndamere, you're going to be playing scaling there. And again, Thresh, Zai, you can make stuff happen in this lane, but facing down to Tristana, Leona, who have such an immense early game pressure, especially just from level 2, you've got to be kind of careful there as well. So Yard being typically an early game team, we see from the match game history we brought up earlier, those are 2 short games, 2 very Yard favored, very proactive kinds of teams. They're going to be looking to be proactive with this Jarvan. He's pretty good at ganking lanes that are pushed in, but you want to be able to get Harry down into these lanes as well and be able to play through all 3 lanes that way rather than just the one or whichever lane you're ganking at the time. So for me, it's up to the mid jungle. I think it's up to the mid jungle as well for Primordials to make sure that their team comp that wants to be going forward is in a position with a lead where they can continue to dive forward rather than dive forward and die, which is, of course, not very ideal for Primordials. So my eyes are going to be towards these jungles as we are loading now onto the Rift.
Yeah, I'd say that the one thing to look for is the fact that this trend has gone a ghost, right? And I understand in solo queue that is the meta, right? That is what you're going for. But in this game now, when you've got, chances are people aren't going to be playing for where you are, right? They're going to be playing across the other side of the map. So what you're doing now is you're going, hey, I'm hoping to win my lane so hard that KL being able to get to every single play doesn't matter. And that's what worries me, is that if this Trin can't get the kills by taking that ghost, it's just a wasted summoner spell. So,
and it is. And we are now on to the Rift for game 1 of Team Yar versus Primordials. Yar on blue side, as the graphics will surely indicate. Summoner's Rift, welcome. Summoner's Rift at Yorkshire, as they say as well. Typical standard starts, maybe a little bit of line of scrimmage. Junglers hovering around in mid lane. Understand they don't want to give away what side they want to be on. A couple of pings coming out for vision, spotting out the ward there.
It's just a basic 5-point across the board, really. J4 not going for a ward, but overall, that ward that they got, Primordials got, honestly, doesn't give them a ridiculous amount of vision. It gives them the slightest bit of the crowd camp, maybe to stop that cheese gank that J4's like to do level 2. But other than that, I think it's just a waste. So overall, nothing happening early. No cheesy engages. Nothing.
Nice, quiet, comfortable start to a quiet and comfortable leaving. Hopefully, it won't be too quiet and comfortable for too much longer. These games are normally quite bloody and quite a bit of action.
Looks like J4's pathing to top. You've got Zin pathing to bot. Be interesting to know what camps they do to see when they're going to get there. But yeah, I think it should be okay.
Should be okay. We'll see if those are famous last words as we get ourselves the laning phase dying. Minions have met in the middle. They'll be meeting in bot lane just about now as well. Red buff starts here for both junglers. Like you're saying, will be farming opposites. So keep our eyes on where they are going as we set up in draft. It's about these mid-jungle lanes. But of course, we won't be denied any action in the other lane as Tryndamere is getting a good start there. Trading health back here, getting those pots ticking on both sides. A bit of trading. So top lane, we were something expecting Tryndamere to be winning out there, so it's a good job there from Felix to make sure that health trade is quite even, but the wave is still pushing against him for now. Seems we're looking for a level 2 gank here as Mars has walked his way in here onto Ninus in the mid lane. Chains connect here as well. Flash coming out afterwards, the Ignite and the Charm. But first, Mars going to be taking up an electrocute and a couple of tower shots, a little bit extra there. But that's Summoners traded there for Ninus.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little worse for wear, but
I believe he was waiting for the chain to connect there to get that route, but by that point they already been able to walk so far into tower that if he did commit to that, I think he would have died. So probably best to hold off from that. But overall, the level 2 cheese gank that J4's love to do was called.
Mm-hmm. Called and well placed, of course. Ninus losing out of that flash. There'll be opportunity to repeat this lane and for Harry to gain here. As a hook lands here onto the Wolves. Root it followed up here by the great step of Feathers. Aftershock burnt just to reduce some of that damage, but still a healthy chunk taken away there. Just going to be sitting up on some of these pots in the meantime. So yeah, again, prioritizing this early bot lane. Not something we'd maybe initially expected just from draft alone. A good start for them all the same. Seems out just going for just about full clear here. Jarvan opting to gank into mid lane instead. Is a little bit of CS behind. Will still get himself a scuttle on bot lane here using the priority in bot lane. To sneak away a grab here from Xin Zhao. Hook lands on the Grump, but that's secured here by Lozin, making sure that he's not going to be put 90 gold out of pocket.
Oh, it's a double crab take here. J4 coming in for this gank. You should know about it.
J4's in the right place here. Gonna just short the flag here, and that's a flash there from Raishan. Again, another summoner burnt there from another gank from Jarvan. That's a fine start, like you say, spotted out on a red ward. Not really respecting that or paying too much attention maybe to the minimap. Caught out. Flash paid as price. Jarvan, the flash tax man. Is that a flash? We'll have that one. So he returns to the jungle to farm up. Get some gold. Maybe to burn some more flashes later on. Bot wave we see the lane pushing back into Yard. They're quite happy to receive this one. Nice even bit of trading going on. In terms of CS, no issues here. Zypher maybe looking for an angle. Should this cannon fall or so to step out of place. Feathers being set up, feathers being pulled back. Nice and simple. Quite a quiet start. Yes, 2 flashes and 2 ganks burnt and a steal from Scuttle. Nothing not meaningless, but normally by this point we'd expect something, a little more bloody to have happened.
I mean, we have nothing major here, but we have had two flashes burnt. Harry going in, just getting a cheeky electrocute proc going, but
yeah, just a handshake on electrocutes.
But the important thing is when this J4 goes to clear now, he knows the lanes to go for. He won't go for bot because they have escapes, but he should go for this mid and top. I say this, he's popped up, he's in bot lane. He's probably just gonna go for it anyway.
J4. And those flashes up, we will be taking those. J4 in position, gonna get pinged away. Swiping flashes will stay up here for bot lane for now. Jarvan just gonna walk away from that, but a bit of pressure gained in the bot lane. Bit of space for Zandiar and Zypher maybe to work with.
Yeah, I'm happy to see. I believe this Kale set up a nice freeze in this top side, so I tried me trying to take a cheetah recall and it sort of backfired here, not understanding the wave properly, and Kale's just held it just outside the tower and last hit and trying to claw back that CS that she lost early on because of that trade.
Yeah, of course, the loss of flash here for Trinidad is going to be crucial as well, because now he's quite susceptible, as you were mentioning, to a Jarvan gank. He will have seen Jarvan on the bot side. I don't think he's been spotted. Now, there's Xin Zhao's in the vicinity. I suspect Cameron will take this. Yeah, there we are, back here into the bot lane. Ari did drop Jarvan earlier. Of course, he has no flash. Zin's here as well. That's a hook straight onto Tristana with the feather set up behind and a double root. Nice and tidy set up there with the Unite ticking gone. No heal is enough for that one. Zyver's going to pick that one up at a distance. No feathers pull back here for the wolf, so he's going to be safe just to take that up with the aftershock and reduction damage. But a nice, great pick there under the tower, and that's a big wave loss here for Trist as well. If you look at that CS already, Mars in the vicinity looking to get a Grump here as well. Our second opportunity to steal a Grump. Looks like it's going to be our favourite this time. We won't want to stick around for too much longer. You are playing on the enemy side of the map. Hook's gone down. That's a long timer for now. Here's the jump stolen. Lantern comes down for a little bit, shielding and a flash flare just to keep Xin Zhao away from that wall. He's not going to be able to flash because the root comes in as well. Maybe a little bit greedy from Primordials to stick around there without knowing where the enemy bot lane is, without respecting that one. They had Trist on the way, but it was not in time. The Grump and kill secured. It looks like Scuttle number 2 is going to be, or number 3, sorry, is going to be secured along with Drake number 1.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit sloppy, really. You know that they're there. You know that they're contesting that Grump. Why are you staying? Like, what purpose does it solve? It just go to your reset, go to your top side. Bet you can get those instead, because chances are, if they get that, then they probably won't go for that Drake, knowing that you could be nearby.
Yeah. But
now you're dead, so they know they can go for the Drake. So staying there trying to force that play just lost you a Drake, a death, and I don't even know if he got the Grump in the end.
Well, it's alright. Raishan's got his team covered. He sneaks away a Grump on the top side and gets a ward in on the back. Oh, here's another hook here onto the wall. It's going to be taking his time here. Going to pop the reduction damage. But the autos are coming through. There's a wave that you'll have to walk through to get there, so they'll just take the trade. Considering they're actually down items, since Xander hasn't had the opportunity to back, helping out with Drake. Essentially items down, but still doing pretty well in this lane. Double distortion here onto Nanus. And the jump back since the charm's gone out of the way. Here's the electric popping on the back end of it. Charm yet to be off cooldown. Harry coming ahead of that trade using the double distortion there to make sure he's pretty much in charge of that trade, no matter what happens.
Yeah, great pressure from the sub-long. Really being able to push him off the CS. Giving himself a nice 15 gold lead. J4 waiting in here. Misses the flag and drag, but it doesn't matter.
Flag and drag, miss here. Raishan going further forward, and the KO lot just used to buy some time here, but Xin Zhao's now in the vicinity. He's looking for a little extra, but I don't think he wants it. Trinidad's already walked away. Slow coming through here onto Lozzie, just going to audaciously charge onto the minions to make sure he gets out nice and safe. So a little bit sloppy maybe from both sides, but fine attempt. Harry now in the vicinity though. He's going to find Zinzao, going to get the Mimic cancelled by Vision there. Zinzao doesn't really want too much of a piece of this. Merc Tread's completed first hit for Harry. Making sure they can get into these lanes faster and trade and respond faster after Charm wears off. Making sure he's not going to get chipped out either by the shot slow down on the orbs.
That's a really surprising buy here. I'm a bit confused. I guess he thinks he doesn't need it for the lane. Any more damage? Maybe just reset on an odd number and prioritizes these tier 2 boots, but...
Well, let's look for something here as the Solar Flare comes down onto Xenia. Hook gonna follow up. The Wolves is out of there, so Thomas has left him by himself. The reduction and Aftershock's gonna keep him alive for a little bit while longer. He's gonna have to flash away from the Ignite, and the Flash Feathers follow. That's a lot of damage. Those Eyebuffs are coming in through here. Trist looking for Whisperer. Here's the Hook coming through. Gonna get sidestep, nice and simple. But the Flay, he stepped too far forward, and the box comes down on the back end of it. Feathers, one too short. The heal's gonna make sure that Zafir can get in there and get the Allosaur attack, but we're straight into some action into the top side. I don't think it's gonna come too much of anything. So a great 2v2 double kill here on both sides.
Yeah, great. Just as they step up slightly too far, even though the Thrush is down a level, he doesn't care. He's going in for that kill every time. They're trying to force that, and able to pick up a double kill on the backside. I mean, great. Even the Tristana stepping back just to get that one auto attack. Zephyr just notices it and thinks, "Well, I've got Flay and I've now got 6. I can slow you for 90% of your movement speed and keep you going." So it's great. Look at this. No counterplay to that, is there?
Long range Atlantic, going to make sure Zandiar's out of here, but it seems that Primordials have weaseled their way here onto the... Harold's going to get smited away, I'm not sure by which team. Harry's going to be able to pick that one up, so it was Mars the smite, and that he's going to trade his life for it. Unable to get the Herald by himself. Ninus chasing this one down, Roshan behind him. Charm, maybe a little wide, but flashed away from just out of respect and anticipation anyway, so... Life for a Herald, and that's their first kill on the board. Primordials trying to launch this Godly that's already grown to just shy of 2k, maybe just 1.5. The 2-0 bot lanes that is down that are going to be looking for opportunities in other lanes. So this Herald would have been super important for them if they could have picked that one up. Sadly, they could not. Now Harry has this opportunity to make a play somewhere. And of course, Harry can be just about anywhere on the map anytime he wants. So if he wants to make something happen with that Herald, he'll now have the opportunity. Speaking of opportunities, Harry's finds a chain here onto Niners. He's going to proc the Electrocute and trade that one back. He's finding Lozzie. He's going to flash charge onto him. He's going to miss. The wind becomes lightning. Harry going to be walking away, trying to use the distortion to blink. I'm going to get distracted by the cam, and Harry playing perfectly with the distortion. Maybe going to get the passive. He's going to trade back onto Ninus. Ninus have to flash away, and there's a pause here. That was not a bug. That was the jungler's mouse type, apparently. We'll have to see what comes out of that one, but just great play and from Harry there. I love using the passive there on LeBlanc. Just walk the other way. No one expects you to walk in when you're popped to a third health, but of course, as soon as you walk the other way and they chase your clone, you've won that one. Nice and simple. So mental game for Harry and the trade for Harry at the moment as well. We'll have to see how that goes there.
Yeah, definitely almost the pink ward there. Great play, and he nearly trades a kill on the backside for it onto this Ari. He should be able to get away here, maybe distort back. I'm not sure, but. Either way, great play. I would like to point out that this massive CS lead that's been gathering in the bot lane, you got the kills and everything, sitting on about 1.5k advantage on this over this Trist. Ridiculously advantaged early on. Feeling very good on that Xayah. Obviously, there's a bit of a gold diff at this top side with the Trin to get in that early kill, but honestly, you're Kale, you're just scaling for late game, you don't have to worry about it. I'm wondering when they're going to use this Herald. If it can translate into 3 plates, I think it'd be great. But even taking 2, I think it's still worth it for the J4 to have died for it. So
yeah, because of course 2 plates is 320 gold. As the pause comes out here, no real time on that one. But the Solar Flare lands here onto Harry. A great play to start with, keeps him alive for a little while, but. With 3 players there's no more jukes he can pull out there, no more misdirections he can cast. He's going to have to simply drop there. And that's time they're going to be able to lose on, or going to be able to lose on Herald, are losing on Herald. As I come into a bit of a freeze here, this normally happens after
a pause, yeah.
Not too worried about it.
It's to help us reduce catching up. But yeah, I think what we should see here now is, now that Harry's dead, if they want to contest this Drake, they need to drop this Herald up top side, let the Kale take it up there, because this Trin, if he wants to be at this dragon fight, he has to walk. Whereas a Kale can just stay up here and just TP down. So I think they should pop the Herald in the top lane, let it walk all that way up, So if the fight, no matter how the fight goes, it should be able to crush into that tower.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Felix does here. As he's backing now anyway, I'll be curious to see if he's going to let this wave crash here from Tryndamere, or if he's going to hold TP. Okay, no, yeah, he is going to TP into that top lane, so he's going to have to be walking there as well. Tryndamere having to walk because he's lost the Ghost. Cypher going to get traded out here trying to set up some vision in the test for this player, but of course Harry's late to the map, so Primordials get priority. I think bot lane backed as well in preparation for Drake, but I think it must have been just somewhat mistimed as Primordials with priority in mid and bot lane have free access onto this Drake. Gonna simply rock this one up and keep the Drakes at 1 apiece for now. No 24-minute souls today.
It's a Cloud Soul anyway. Oh, I hate a Cloud Soul. It just always it never feels like when you get a Cloud Soul, you've instantly won a game. Whereas any other Soul, you're like, yes, I have now won.
I think the issue I have with Cloud Drake is that it doesn't feel very visible, right? With Ocean Soul, you can see the numbers ticking up and it feels good, and you're very aware of that impact. And playing against it as well is like, oh, I'm hitting shit, but it just doesn't land, right? It feels quite bad. Infernal, of course, massive explosion of damage, and the shield you can't really miss as well from Ocean. But Cloud's this faster on the map, and my number and cooldown smaller. Doesn't really mean too much. Ocean here looking for a little bit of trade here onto Felix. Did burn the flash early. He's going to get some more trades back. The healing's going to keep that one tied a little bit at peace. And
that's the range versus melee coming through here. Look at that trade. Trying to start it off. If he doesn't get any autos off, all of a sudden then the Chaos can just walk him out, hitting him on the back all the way. So
yeah, with the press of the attack as well, that damage becomes pretty significant on the way out. The auto reset that has been added to the somewhat recently. Here's the press of the attack going to be starting to auto, and yeah, Felix just not in range to be able to burst. Going to have to drop the ult here. And of course, Kale can just drop the ult herself as soon as he gets in range. The Undying Rage. It's not enough. Here's the time burnout, and there it is. It's an extra tower shot on the way out as well. Rashan buying off more than he can chew, but see how much shooing you can do here into the bot lane as the feathers come forward, trying to trade back 1-for-1, unable to draw them back. The Wolves gets out on just a silver health. Mars trading down as well. Harry caught out by a charm at max range. Going to be distorting over the wall to try and get himself out of here. I'll be looking to back with the corrupting potion tick. I think gives him away. Niners looking for something. The clone going to be tickling and teasing them. Lozzie going to be here just shy on the wind becomes lightning. The movement speed from Cloud Drake going to be coming over. Great ult here by Lozzie, tries to make some distance, but I don't think it really achieves much. Just the lantern now here. Zypher to find his way up the river to make sure that his friend Harry is safe. And he pick out a little bit of CS as well on the back of it. No real problem there.
Well,
some space with that hook.
That just became interesting. I think that the Xin ulted Dentist to try and stop the blast cone, thinking that it might knock him towards him. But honestly, I mean, Zara still had heal when J4 went down, so that was a bit of a misplay there. Maybe he could have saved the J4 from the Ignite, but overall, I think it was an okay play across the board. I mean, they lose a little bit of gold, but you know, Kale got that kill on the top side, was able to crash a wave and come back up. And as I'm saying this,
speaking of kills, Jarvan able to just about save Felix's life and the narrowest of margins. That's a sad one there for Tryndamere. I don't know if that's well or good played, but it was clutch nonetheless. Kale now being able to absolutely obliterate this top lane up. 2 deaths on Tryndamere, of course, without a TP able to get there. That CS lead is going to be really, really reverted, and that's tower damage as well. Kale going to get himself out of there just in case Zinzao shows up. But yeah, as you're saying, right, it's a bit of a weird trade on bot side, not really able to trade it back as the Wolf survives the dive as well. So
yep.
Jungler for, just about nothing's kind of fine. I was a lot of time blown.
The biggest thing that has happened that I forgot, that I didn't notice until just then, was because of that bot trade, the Herald did expire.
Yeah.
So we didn't get that Herald off. So getting that objective means that J4 dying earlier was worth for them. J4 getting caught.
J4 with no flag of drags are going to get caught here on the chicken. Zypher unable really to lantern him out of anywhere, and out fresh left by his lonesome. He's going to get caught up between 3 people. He's boxed himself in at this point, and he's just going to slowly get auto down, and that's a kill here for Ninus. But yeah, as you're saying, right, not being able to utilize the Herald there as the team means that this gold lead has stagnated really at this kind of 1 to 2k gold lead that they've been just exaggerating from their bot lane has stayed kind of even. Kale, of course, has picked up a little bit of an advantage, but it's been traded back elsewhere in the meantime. There's a bit more trading in topside, and oh, good God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, good God. Oh, there's a Zinzao on the backside of this. He does not want to be there. He thought he is in a 2 versus 1, but Kale is absolutely huge. He's worth 3 members. Lozzie going to get himself out of there. Does not want to be a part of that mess. Good God, that is... I believe that Tryndamere ult was available. I guess he just did not expect that last auto attack. Just wasn't ready to press R in time. Gale Force, I think... maybe not completed beforehand as well. Now completed. has more options to get out, which is not really what you want for a team that wants to go in. Kale is very much online, at least 10 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah, Trin definitely had ult up then. I think he's just waiting for his R button to react. But overall, I mean, a great play by Kale, knowing to go forward. I guess the Xin didn't show, but either way, they knew the limits. Kale knew that her ulti was coming up in about 2 seconds, so they could push that, and you can flash still for time and be able to get the ulti off either way. So, well played, honestly. And so I'm happy to see. Wonder if we're going to see a fight for this Drake. They are pathing down. Trin just stuck in the top side, so this should be a 5v4.
Yeah, Felix is moving down and has the TP just about coming up in a couple of seconds. Every other member is here on the map. Tryndamere will not be involved in this one unless it goes on for so long. Mars is in a good position for a flank here. Zyver's going to whiff on the hook. TP now coming in from Felix. They know this play. Harry's on the far side of it as well. They got the members trapped there in the bucket. How much damage can they do to get there? Felix flashes onto Ninus. Ninus out of the way. The Wolf's caught on the backside of it. No way out of that. And that's a double kill now for Kale. Compensated for the time she's going to lose in top lane. That's a Drake as well for Yar, and that's a big win around Dragon.
Yeah, great hiding from the J4 then to be able to get that engage going. I think going for the Ahri there might have been a slight mistake. Maybe go for the people that don't have dashes, but either way, I mean, worked out well, and they got their kill, and they've got 4 kills on this kill now on this top side. I don't think the Trin can match her in the side lane at all. 2 levels up. I think it's going to be rough for him either way. Xin going to just go up top side, try and get this Herald. I believe it's going to be uncontested because Yar don't have any idea what's going on at this point, but overall,
they don't know for sure. They have no priority.
The engage.
Top or mid to get there, but there's an engager in bot lane, so it's just gonna walk his way out there. He could be a threat. Here's the flash, follow from the feathers, and the Gale Force just gonna make sure that one connects. Wolves. Zenith Blade's in, but he's not too sure he wants that.
Hook
I
lands.
don't know where the other members are, but the hook lands. They run to the Wolves. No wave, sadly, so they won't be pushing too hard for this one. Mars in the vicinity as well. Jamie BBK looking for something on this Jarvan. Felix is going to be defending the vision top side, the Wolf doing the same in bot side. So we'd like to see next is maybe a push for these outer towers. You know, you have this lead now that was stagnated at 1 to 2k. You want to try and push that. And I love this from Primordials, making sure that they're losing no time getting this Herald into play and crashing that mid lane. Taking away this tower, this kind of base of operations. Harry just about distorting away there from all of the CC. Solar Flare, the Charm, and the Everfrost there, just shy of Harry. Just making sure that with the Prestige LeBlanc, he is keeping himself prestigious and out of the way here. Unfortunately, unable to find himself a kill, but he might be able to get one here onto Wolfs. As Wolfs is locked up, going to have to flash the corner there on the Raptor Bush. There's another crash from Herald, so a little bits of actions everywhere, not really adding up to too much, but Primordials, I think, coming ahead and away with the tower.
Yeah, very good interrupt then by the Xin Zhao to knock the LeBlanc out of her distortion, but after all, it's into nothing. They get that mid tower, but it's traded back on the bot side, so brilliantly played by both teams, and they're just trading objectives, cross-mapping, and as much as cross-mapping is good, you still have this kill in the top lane that no one's been able to go near, and the CS lead is getting bigger and bigger, and the gold just expanding.
Yeah. Primordials looking for something here. I think now's a good time to look for it as well with the items being matched on the board. There's a knock up here onto Felix. There's a Lantern just about to be in range as well as the TP and the KO ult. Going to get good value out of this. Teleport just going to let us know who it is. He's going to get stuck in there as Harry's going to get the doubles distortion. Going to get taken down by the wind becomes lightning as the hook hit comes from Thresh by Shern. Get to pop the ult, I think. Oh no, he has got it down and there's the Unite ticking there. Harry picks up something as well. Or was that just the death timer? Yeah, that was just the late from the announcer telling us. He's getting in there, but there might be a little bit extra here as Ninus has found his way into the back end of this play as Felix goes down as well. Traded here for Lozzie, and Primon's going to be picking this one up. Too much play here on the wrong side of the map, but they are going to get something in mid as Zandia finds himself some time on this tower. So a little bit messy, a little bit mixed. I guess it was mostly me getting confused by the announcer coming in so late, telling me that Harry had died. So
yeah, they didn't say he died. He said he disconnected. I wonder,
was that it?
I wonder if he disconnected mid-play, and that's why he was still, or if... Because the Xin Zhao nearly went down just to him alone, so maybe he disconnected during that play, and that's why he wasn't able to get that kill, but the pulse didn't come through, and I mean, he was dead by the time that he noticed, I assume, so...
Yeah, well, sadly we don't have the ability to chrono break or set things back, so I assume as soon as he reconnected, we'll call it as is and just keep the game going. No Fnatic-style pauses this time from Yar, so... yeah, an unfortunate trade, maybe under unfortunate circumstances. does get the tower back in exchange for that play, though. I think they were down 2 kills in that top side. So 2 kills for a tower, as long as you're making sure that you use that spacing advantage. You can see Zypher already making good use of pushing in some walls into the spot side, making sure that Harry is safe and doesn't get caught out on the side lane as well. Felix going to be answering again into this top side. So really, what's on the cards here is perhaps next Drake on Experiment, but there's a little bit of trading going on here. I don't think the judgment is yet available, and in a couple of seconds it will be. Flash not available here for Felix either, but he's just able to speed him out. He's just faster. It is just that simple. Gale Force and spins combined is not enough, as Harry's going to find a charm and a Zenith Blade. The other side of the wall does get the double distortion away, but of course Ninjas can chase all that way. He's going to jump back and lift Zypher out on the wits, but Zandiar's here in the vicinity. He's going to find Lozzie, maybe. Lozzie using the stop command there at the edge of the bush, going to be using the sweepers just to keep himself safe. Going to put a control here in the bush and the wolf. So the Zenith Blade connects there. Distortion following through. Flashes away here from the Ignite, but is it going to be enough? Zypher going to get into their range with the Lantern. Lantern's going to keep him nice and safe. So Harry absorbing so much there and still survives.
Yeah, the escape artist Harry. I mean, going all over the place to avoid that, but sitting in the bush getting caught out, a bit unfortunate there, but able to get his way out of it and not give up any gold.
Yeah, it does sadly give up space, I think, but Primordials to get themselves in there, try and compete for this 4th Drake, their 2nd. Got Felix pushing here in the top lane, of course. Reshon, as we've realised, is really struggling in this lane, so they're going to probably have to send someone to answer, which would be Yar's opportunity to get this Drake. I think both teams would be happy to give this Drake up, but good lord, that is sad to see, but maybe we'll see something a little bit brighter here for Primus as they find their way into this fight in the bot lane. I'm not too sure who's winning, but that flay was huge, and the feathers are coming now out here for Zandiar. He finds the 3-man route, and the KO is just in time. The TP completed. Distortion's coming out through the backside as well. That's 4 for 0, nothing really Primordials could have done about that one. I don't think it was close, maybe for a little while, but just the combination of the team fight there is going to get picked up on the backside. Double golden here, going to handshake on the stopwatches, and then he's going to flash away on the back end of it, not even going to give himself the chance to react, just going to get out of there. That was a lot, and it was very fast. I could not tell you exactly what happened, but that KO and that feathers was super, super huge.
Yeah, that kill, getting that kill over that top side was massive because it allowed a free TP without being pressured at all, and J4 being locked up by the Ari Charm into the Leona stuns really stopped them from being able to get down that Cataclysm, but it doesn't matter because KL TP'd in, was able to put the ulti down onto the Xayah who's in ult, and by the time she came out, everyone tried to focus her, but all of a sudden you're in the range for this level 16's KL's ult damage, and it just one-shots them all. Zephyr?
Yeah, carry on. Yeah, we did see that. That's fine.
Well, you died for a service, but you didn't need to die. But good job, you got the Baron.
Yeah, the reward's worth is still there in the end of the day. Maybe he didn't have to die, but yeah, we see now that
was
Harry,
such a good
even
trade.
with 0 kills and a Muck Treads, he can still do his damned worth other than just escaping, but forcing the Tristan to escape instead. The Zenith Blade is going to be waited on as the Solar Flare will be used first, and it's going to take a couple of extra tower shots pushing in this wave.
Is Harry going to get caught out here? They're waiting for him. Sports forwards.
For him. There's Distortion forwards. Chains used as well. He's going to be waiting for the passive here, knocked up already. Flashing on. You can see he's okay, they know better now. They've been juked by it once. Zandiar's going to be trying to pick up this play as well. He's just going to flashed on and ignited on, but the Locket and the Lantern and might just about be here in time. He's going to survive with the feathers in tow. Mars just going to watch his tower fall there on the backside. Great play here by Zandiar to pick up by Harry. It was a bait. It was a distortion. Haha, psych, we got you. Classic misdirection. You killed me, but we get the 2 of you.
Yeah, I mean, can we just focus on the biggest thing here, right? I don't know if you noticed, but there is a level 17 Kayle in the game versus a level 13 Tryndamere.
4 levels. Oh dear.
Like, that is crazy. That level has been achieved through insanely high farm for this elo, right?
Well, is that CS per minute? Yeah, especially for this.
It's about 9 CS a minute. Pretty massive. Oh, a great hook. Flay out of the jump into the hook. Great. High CS, but that is only achieved because of the kills. Right? If it's not for the kills, you don't get that high of XP. Are we going in here?
We're going to be using the gold card, but that doesn't really matter as the Cataclysm goes down, and that's just another kill in the mid lane. I don't think Ninus wants to be there anymore. I think Harry's happy to be losing this one as long as he's winning the game on the back end of it. As the super minions are coming in, going to be a siege minion is not too far off to follow as the inhibitor's been taken down as well. We got a level 17, as you mentioned. Dick Gale is sat there at 901, 3 items completed here at 25 minutes. Not really going to be able to compete with this. The second cast of the Redemption comes down. They're not even going to fight it. They're going to find a hook on the back end of it just for fun. The Rampage is burnt through and are going to Gale Force and be ignited and flash away. I don't think he even survives that. There's a Gale just for fun, and that's an X is gone before you can even blink. Game one from Yard may be a little bit close in the early game. Some of these early plays faltered, but as soon as that, like you mentioned, Kale started winning that top lane, turned to me, could not chase or fall down into that pit. It was just hard to watch, I think, for that top lane. I don't think it's necessarily anyone's fault, but just Felix gapping and kind of carrying the back end of this game. Zandy are doing bits in these team fights as well.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see on stream, look at the damage from this Kale, 20k damage. No one else is even close. I mean, not to say that Kale put him on their back, but through those CP plays, really made that difference. And overall, I mean, I'm surprised that the Xayah Thresh lane was so heavily winning. I think it was some great hooks by the Zephyr. I wasn't expecting that out from him. I was expecting the Poppy pick, but seeing the Thresh, I can see why he went towards it. And honestly, it worked really well. Landing those hooks. Maybe Leona got a bit too far forward, thinking that she's the god tank that Leonas are known to be, but overall, just couldn't keep up with this Thresh. Just always hooking him in, getting those roots down, CC chaining him, getting those kills. And honestly, I mean, though Harry doesn't look like he's done much, he pushed the Ahri off of so many waves in this early game that they were able to just have pressure all across this whole map so that J4 could walk where he wants, influence the bot lane and the top lane, and Harry just sat back going, I don't mind, I'm just here just to go in. I think that the Merc trades early was a bit of a mistake from him, but honestly, it worked out for the best, and it was a kind of an easy game.
Yeah, and it's maybe a little bit against expectation, right? We expected the top and bottom lanes to be, maybe a bit quiet, maybe a bit shoved in, right? We said there was opportunity for Java to find something, and he did in top and bottom lane. He found 2 flashes, in top and mid lane. But I knew I drew highlight, right? This mid jungle is where I'm looking, and sure, the first 5 minutes was about mid jungle. And as you mentioned, Harry was doing some kind of work, just absorbing a lot of the play and a lot of the pressure if he found himself on the wrong side. But it wasn't Kale that we were looking to step up. It wasn't Xayah that we were looking to step up, but they just did. And suddenly that game plan they were talking about that Primordials wanted, they wanted to be going forward, but they had nothing to move forward with. All the pieces that they had just had to move backwards. Yeah,
it looks like a different year than we're used to, and I like what I'm seeing. And normally we see the pressure applied to the mid and jungle, whereas this game we're seeing the outer lanes winning as well. I guess it's that they're at the point now where they're feeling comfortable playing with each other, and they're going for these more aggressive plays. And I like to see it. I mean, I think Zephyr on the support has been very good showing so far, and I believe they did get some solo kills in the last games they played in that bot lane. So great to see. And I thought they would have more of a problem going into this Leona Trist lane than I'd expected.
Yeah, that was something I think I tried to point out at the start, is that the first wave was under the Triss-Leona tower. And Tristana Leona is super powerful from level 2, but the camera is never there. I don't know what happened at that point in the game, but what you would expect to see out the lane just didn't happen. So yeah, maybe that's something we're curious to see. Maybe there's something that's corrected in game 2, but I think we'll probably toss it to a break and maybe join back for 8, where we'd expect the next game to start, where you can join us for game 2, and we can join you then about draft. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey, and welcome back to the EsportsWales community channel. We are just ahead of ourselves for game 2 of week 2 of Valence, Team Yar versus Team Primordials. Yar coming swiftly away as we are just as swiftly into draft for game 2. I did want to talk about the kind of draft from game 1 and what that means for game 2. Now, the KO was something you pointed out as something that Primordials played, and it was a denial pick, but it seems to be very much in favor of us now as well. The other point I wanted to highlight from the first draft was that Trundle was untouched. And Trundle was something that we played last week, and it's something that they played 2 games of last week. So maybe it's something after the losses Primordials didn't feel too happy about with the Trundle pick. So maybe that's why it's down in priority, but I'll be curious to see if it comes out here, and what other bans they throw at Yar after game 1.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they don't ban the Kale. I think it'd be quite funny. We are seeing very similar bans coming out again. I think it's just a handshake bans. We'll do the same path. Hopefully we don't get the salty run back of the exact champs again, but never know. It worked out quite well for Yar, so they'd happily sign up for that.
Yeah, so definitely looking for changes here at Primordials. Maybe Kale ban to be expected. I believe last time they took away, I checked the Kiana last. Xin Zhao is an adaptation. Draven left open in its stead. So maybe a different priority pick here for. Yeah, definitely going to be leaning away from the Zaire as it's banned, so we'll have to see what Zendar comes out with. I know he's a Jinx player, and Jinx got a little bit of a buff on this patch in terms of mana, and something I thought about, maybe not expected, unless they decide to take the Draven away at this time instead. It's not really something I think of, and I think of Zandia. First pick maybe for Harry again, and yeah, he's just going to lock in that Akali.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, I think it's one of his comfort picks. You know, we've seen LeBlanc. Yeah. He didn't feel very comfortable on it. I don't think last game. He seemed like he was a bit all over the place. So I'm happy he's taking Akali. He's going, right, last game wasn't my finest, but this game, I'm going to show you what I can do on this. And you just can see the Ari picked up again. I guess that must be their comfort pick. Ari just played into everything. Strong champ, lots of dashes, but Akali's got more. So this should be fun to see. I will say, I am sorry that the title page does say that we're against Team Haven. I have no idea how to change that. I don't have access to that, I don't think. I just have to press stream start. I am sorry. Anyway, going into it, we got Lee Sin picked up here. Great pick. Very strong. Very, very strong in the 1v1. I'm surprised that he didn't go for maybe the J4 that we're going to see, but I'm sure that Miles will pick it up as a return because that champ is strong at the moment. Thresh picked up. Oh, I guess Zephyr is feeling himself after the last game. Not feeling like he needs to hover the poppy, but I guess Thresh played really well last game, so that makes a lot of sense going forward.
Yeah, I suppose as well, if you're happy to blind it, you don't really want either the enemy team taking it away in pick or draft before you can get to it, so taking it whilst it's available here. Still doing pretty fine into Ari and Lee Sin in terms of matchup. The Lee Sin is something I want to talk about because it was something they hovered beforehand. So maybe after the performance on Zinzao, they're not so comfortable. Maybe they didn't feel up to scratch, maybe the same way that Harry didn't feel or didn't look too proficient on LeBlanc for today. So we'll have to see what different performance we can get out of the jungle with a Lee Sin instead of a Zinzao.
Oh, the Volibear. I got to fit. That could be Volibear support, not support, the jungle here. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yes, I do need Craig to help me with production here, by the way. That would be useful, but at the moment I'm in charge of it, and as you can see, it is a bit of a mess. I mean, Kale taken away here. Draven picked up again. Draven, very strong pick, as we spoke about in the first game, so looking forward to seeing that going forward.
Yeah, the changes we did talk about for a little bit as well, so be excited to see that in action. Draven locked in here for this time, so right. Who was Thomas on ADC? Sorry, they're not in order, and it confuses me sometimes.
Yeah, I know. And they forced Yar to get an order. That is truly disgusting. I'm sorry. I know you're listening to us here. Okay, I can't believe that you would do such a thing, forcing us to go in order so you don't know that we have a 3-way flex. How dare you? But yeah, Draven's really strong pick here. I wonder what Sandar's going to pick his response. Probably the Zyre again. I think he's feeling that a lot with based off of
you would think so,
buffs.
but Zyre's banned.
Oh well, look at my eyes; they have disappeared. I don't know who he's
playing in colourless.
Probably going to.
What a colour caster!
He does normally pick Kalista though, so I got a feeling that might be the pick here. And I think if he does pick it, it would work out quite well. It would be fun to see if he binds with the Thresh, or if he decides to go for binding with a Volibear, just because why not? Binding to a jungler, obviously it's not great for lane phase, but late game can really help.
Yeah. Other ADCs I think on the cusp is, I know Ashe got nerfed, but Ashe is something we talk about. It seems pretty fine. The slows into Draven as well are pretty poor. It stops him more reliably catching those axes.
Oh, the Maokai.
Maokai, yeah.
It's a flex. It's a flex.
It is a flex.
Flexius returns. So Maokai support, obviously really fun. You can play it in tank. You can play it tank with Aftershock, or you can play it really annoyingly with Comet and just go for powering up those saplings, or you can just play it topside and go Grasp and just be really annoying. And I believe it's a good matchup into Volibear, so maybe they think the Volibear's going top, but we're going to see now whether the Volibear is going top. Varus picked up his response. Varus poke into Draven, I believe, is very good. Obviously, you have the CC lockdown of his R, so that's very fun going forwards.
Yeah, and of course, Draven's typically telegraphed with worry paths. And as you say, and as I look at it, yes, the Fiora is something we touched upon. At the very start of the day is 2 games of Fiora into hard smashes in that top lane. And after a hard smash here on KO, looking to return to form again is
I think that's where you really want to put this Maokai support now, because Fiora really counters Maokai. You've got such a easy thing to parry with the Maokai, so surely you've got to pivot that off into the support role. It'll be fine. Don't worry. You could just max the saplings. There you go. There's the set. Still trying to flex it with the set, I guess, but set into Fiora.
Yeah, there's opportunity then to decide if they didn't have enough time in that last pick. They can
set into Fiora is a much better matchup. I still expect the big man in the top lane who's feeling himself maybe a bit too much with the name to be coming out in that lane a bit further ahead, but
yeah, he hasn't come up short yet. That's what we'll say. Felix definitely pulling in some work as the sub. I dabble with puns from time to time. Most people of my friends don't think I'm funny, but I know my mum tells me I'm funny.
That's so sad.
She doesn't.
That's just... Yeah. Moving on. Yeah, I think we've got a great jungle pick here, the Volibear. Obviously, clearing speed very fast as soon as he gets a couple of levels in him. Ahri into Akali. I want to say it's Akali favored. I think it's more that they picked the Ahri because its base is there. It's more their preferred pick. Okay, it's what they're comfortable playing, so that's why they've picked that into it. Thresh Varus, obviously Varus low mobility into Draven can be kind of hard, but then you take the Thresh, you got the Lantern, so you got 16 flashes built into one. You can go wherever you like. Take me around the world and back again with this Thresh Lantern. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun lane. I think depending on what the Maokai goes going into this, it'll be interesting to see which side it goes.
Yeah, I do want to quickly touch on that mid lane as you mentioned with the just kind of handshaking on mid. I kind of love it, right? Blind picking mid is not typically usual. Maybe it's something like Orianna or a control mage, like Syndra. LeBlanc's the exception to that control mage kind of rule. But I love the fact that both of these mid laners are like, put me in chief on whatever. I'm gonna play whatever champion I'm comfortable with if it's open, and I'll do my best regardless. Right? Give counter picks to the other lanes. Give more opportunity for counter matchups for my teammates, because I'm confident that on my champ, the worst I could do is go even. And I kind of really like that.
Yeah, I mean, think about Harry's champion pool for a minute. The most, like, he has got a massive champion pool, right? But the most he feels comfortable blind picking are those assassins, which normally would be the opposite. You wouldn't want to pick those blind, but they're his most comfortable champions. They're the ones that he's going forward to. So honestly, it's going to be a great matchup to see. Obviously, the Volibear into the Lee Sin, I think is going to be fun to see. I want to see a buffer on the Lee Sin kick with the Volibear ulti. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great game to watch going into it, and seeing how close the early game was in the last one, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think Primordials, yes, their composition isn't all about jumping and going forward, but I think in this case it might benefit them, because I feel like their early game is maybe a little bit stronger. Yes, Lee Sin is slightly nerfed towards early game with his E cooldown and the 2 AD, lost slightly nerfed. But yeah, with something like a Draven, of course, Draven just screams aggression, right? It's hard to miss out on the aggression from Draven. And having a second round again on this Ahri, and set, of course, being just kind of potent throughout all of the stages of the game. Just bully, maybe a little bit overtuned, who knows? But yeah, they're definitely set up with maybe more reliable options for early game aggression. And since it was, like you say, and I said during the cast last time, it was maybe a little tentative in the early game, Primordials might be better set up to take a lead or take a mid game with this composition.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Draven here, right? And you never know what you're going to get with the Draven. If you're going to get Tyler 1 now or Tyler 1 back in the day where he's running it down for his life. So hopefully we see a more relaxed Draven who understands that nowadays he can just, as long as he stays alive, keeps those stacks up, eventually just one-shot someone because of the new passive. So I think it's going to be great to see. He is really strong at the moment, but obviously I'm expecting the Poke Varus to just destroy him in the lane early.
Do you want to toss on it? I have here a coin. It's a particular favorite of mine. I keep it in my wallet the entire time. From 1967. Do you want to call, because like you're saying, new or old Tyler 1, it's a bit of a coin flip. Do you want to coin flip on this Draven? What do you want to call it? Heads he wins, tails he loses?
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're playing Draven, you're losing on both sides.
I'll flip it in anyway. So unless it lands in like what's that anime where it just lands perfectly in the middle on its end, this Draven is going to lose by your prediction. So we'll flip the coin. I'll say heads wins. I won't be so biased. I think this coin's a little biased. I tried to count the sides. I think heads comes up a bit more often than tails, but we'll flip it anyway. All right, it came up heads. So the coin says on the coin toss, Draven's are going to win this lane. We'll have to keep our eyes down there as long as Director Cam allows us to have a look, because we are now on to the rift for game 2, week 2. Yeah, versus Primordials for Valence. Split 4, last one of the year. As I'm struggling to zoom out, you can have a look at the map all the same. Though
it is
same
the
kind
aftershock.
of standard starts.
Aftershock Malkai, so he is going to be looking to go for that W in all the time, not playing back, just throwing the saplings out. So it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I'll be curious about this bot lane as well. I have played against Malkas from time to time. I haven't really played it so much. I played it once or twice with the Callisto with the pre-made, and that was quite funny. But it was a little bit of a gamble, not gonna lie. It was a little tentative and close to start. So I'll personally be taking interest in this Maokai, seeing what choices they make and how it plays in this lane. I kind of like it with the Draven, right? It's very much point-and-click CC. It functions kind of similarly, imagine, to Leona, only you have a little bit more poke in exchange for, I guess, a little bit of durability and harass. Not opting for the Spell Thieves are going to be a little bit dry mana, and of course the Saplings damage did get nerfed a couple of patches ago. So it might not be as potent as some people may remember. But of course, again, as long as Draven's bringing and packing punches with the Hellblades, there's definitely opportunity there to blow up this lane.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I assume his W, I have no idea what the Maokai names, I'm sorry, I'm not going to lie. Is it Undergrowth, where he goes under the ground? I don't know. But his W, where he targets an ally or an enemy, and he goes underground, I assume he can't be flayed because that's unstoppable, right?
He can be flayed, but it's very hard to pull off.
Okay. As we see, a couple of swords versus fists. Fists tends to do pretty well in this one.
We're definitely going to be seeing a fight in this bot lane about at 3 minutes, because we're seeing both junglers clear towards this bottom side. So Lee Sin skipping Krug, so you might get there first. So this could be an interesting lane to keep an eye on, but Director Cam just doesn't want us to focus on it. So here we go. But Varus is leading early on, so this is going pretty well.
Here's our early look, and there's a hook straight here on to Draven. He's going to flay in the Maokai instead, and the Aftershock proc and the Grievous Wounds landing here onto Draven. Going to get a nice bit of bonus damage out of the Blight stacked up as well. So initial trades here in favour of Zandy and Zypher. A little bit typical for them.
Just letting them know. You just gotta let that Draven know that whenever he walks up, you can hit him with that hook. A great hook by Zephyr. Just warning him, I can do this at any point. Don't worry.
It's not a threat, it's a warning. As Maokai might be in for a little bit of a warning soon. He's going to find an engage here, and Zypher's out of range. And Ignite here onto Zandy. I'm going to have to flash, but get followed. He'll going to come out just in time, I think, to keep that one there. His first bullet here onto Draven. That's pretty good news for him. 400 gold in his pocket, but can he get out and get away? The Wolf's going to follow. His flash going to be back up and follow through onto Draven here as the Director Cam is absolutely teasing me. The Wolf's going to be stuck here into this bush, trying to trade with Zypher. He's going to get some damage out, but Mars is going to be flashing in to get this one out. The Wolf's slowly walking away. Smite coming through the shield as well. It looks like he might be out. I think Wolf's is out of there. Speaking of out of there, Long Willy Man's going to be having some difficulty flashing away from the Haymaker just to be short. Definitely further erosion this time around, but burning a flash is not something we're only used to in this top lane. Oh, we've got some action maybe here in the mid lane as well, as Lozzie finds his way into the river, into the back end here of Harry, who's already popped the Shroud, and this is trying to dodge and dip duck arrive around. They know he's here somewhere in the Shroud. He's going to be revealed, stuck in the middle of the lane. Going to flash away here for some of the follow-up, and Lozzie going to flash to follow, but Mars has found his way up the river here as well. It's a 2 versus 2, and Harry wants a little bit more. Mars has already backed away.
Pesky minion just blocking his E. Oh, scary. But great that the Volibear was able to block that charm, because I think if it hits the Agalia, he could have died there. So great to see it. I'm happy to see that the Fiora taking this back here. Probably not greeting, but never mind. It's been interrupted, so ignore that moment for a second, guys. Volibear
make it just a little shy as well.
I think it's both teams getting a crab here, so that's nice to see. Both of them getting those in the middle round.
Roshan getting a little bit of something here. Parry used to proc the passive. Roshan going to find himself. Jungle support is going to find himself under the tower, and just going to happily walk that one away. Lee Sin being Lee Sin.
I mean, going forward, Yara do have the scaling comp, in my opinion. So, though this early game does look rough, I believe they can pull it back for themselves very easily. And at the moment, it's only a 300 gold lead, so it's not the end of the day. That is across the board, so it's not really too impactful, but
yeah. And Felix, he was struggling in that lane, but the gold did go over to Lee Sin, so the gold in that top lane is still going to be relatively even, not something tangible. As long as he can recover in this lane, now that he's had the reset, I assume some of those early trades just didn't go his way and he's lost some of that pressure on the back end. So assuming that the XP lead is even as well, he should be pretty okay just to keep this lane. As you're saying, the scaling advantage is probably in favour, and I imagine Fiora with the true damage does pretty well. Harry using the shroud here to get aggressive, make sure he has the priority on the skill shots and the damage, because when the shroud's popped, you can only really react unless you anticipate or read the Akali super well. You don't really know where she's going to be. And that gives you the opportunity to strike first as the Akali and makes use of that. Well, going to gain priority in that mid lane, going to reset at the same time. No real CS difference here. Of course, that first blood gold onto Driven is going to be super significant, and the Varus going to take up the T instead of facing down the double long swords. So maybe that early hook that we saw is not going to be indicative of how the rest of this lane is going to go.
I'll be honest, I'd love to see a Volibear pattern up here. If Fiora gets his kill here, or even trades 1-for-1, it's so good.
Doing super well. Flash here from Roshan. Just going to have to respect the vital proc there, and unable to find it on the back end. Dodging away from the Haymaker as well just means that Roshan, that massive shield and that massive true damage is just going to be nothing. That's just a cooldown burn.
So getting pushed off the wave here. Felix. If Fiora can stop his reset, she's delaying his reset even more, so he's losing this XP, this gold, of about 2 waves. So that's about a kill's worth that she's denying just by going through and proxying this wave. It's insane. RETPing up there though, so we'll see if that comes to anything.
Up here as well. Raishan has TP available as well if they want to make something else happen on it. Here goes the final duet. And it's going to have to be using the ult to get away from here. Felix got that last vital proc on the right side there. They're going to pop the ultimate. It's going to be pulled out of it though, and he's going to be able to clean up as Harry's finding his way in here. Going to get himself onto Nunus, but it's going to be interrupted by the charm. Perfect execution is going to get him the other side of the tower, but it's not going to get him out of the tower range. And he's taken out here. Mars going to be caught here out and Dragon by himself. Lozzie gets himself in there with the Dragon helping him out. And the Wolves finds his way onto Zypher as well. This is not a good look for Yar. He's going to be hitting up by a sapling. And not going to be able to pull anybody here to safety as Lozzie going to find himself that first Drake. A little bit of an overreach from Yar, maybe? A mechanic
for sure
as well from Primordials.
The Volibear starting the Drake without pressure. Yes, their mid was up in the top lane, but you don't have the pressure in the bot lane, and as Volibear, you don't do that for anywhere near fast enough, so this is going to be sort of rough here. Down an Ocean Soul, down 800 gold, and this Fiora that's been showing up in every other game is now even. Maybe even slightly behind in gold. Great hook lands here. Can we see any layout of the engage?
Great hook and a flake. Arrow's a little short, so Jovi going to get some trade back autos. Lighting used just defensively there for the shielding. But yeah, as you're saying, right, it's Yar's normally in a position where they're happy to be playing from ahead. They normally get some of these early game leads, but their early game playing has countered them here. As speaking of counters, Roshan going to get stunned here on the riposte, going to be dodged away from the Haymaker as per normal. He's going to walk around the other side just to get that vital proc on all. This true damage is doing absolute work here into the Roshan. Going to have to pop the Showmaker, and yeah, he's just going to get blown up, unlike Showmaker. Maybe, well, Showmaker has been blown up. He did lose MSI, just to take that into him. He keeps him up at night, bless him.
Really, it's just showing off his death.
Something here. Flash going to get the double knockback as Alia's going to be ignited and absolutely dropped to start with. Wolves might be looking to be trading first. There's a flash here from Thomas. He's going to get himself not the kill, but a kill for Maokai as the Knight takes down as Zypher going to be yielded on the back end of it as well. The Lantern, he has to walk around his own Lantern. Unfortunately, the hook's going to go wide as well. He's going to flash play him the wrong way and say Thomas is going to pick that one up nice and comfortably.
I'm going to say that was greed and flash. Thresh could have got out at any point, flashing away, but decides to flash in, try and get the trade. But the Draven still has heal. He's been holding that for a long time. So even if you flame into tower there and CC him, the hook was on cooldown. You missed it, so you're not going to be able to CC him for long enough. Just reset, take the loss. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry. I know that these kills will be going onto the Thresh, but this Varus will come back into it as long as they play safe.
Yeah, he's going to be getting to that point with Mirror Mana. You just have to make sure you're not losing so hard that Mirror Mana comes up too late.
Kali going to get caught here.
Going to ward hop. Uses the...
Nice jump.
Going to use the Shuriken flip to make sure he's nice and safe. Make sure there's no opportunity for Maokai to follow as well, using the vision appropriately and the shroud. But here comes the duet from Fiora. It's just a full proc, nice and simple. Dodges the Haymaker yet again. Just going to wait for that shield to go down. And Lasvire proc just cleans up set. He'll be crying home to his mother quite soon.
Yeah, and there's going to
Herald here on top lane as well, I expect, now that Mars is in the vicinity. So this will be plate as well for a solo kill on Fiora.
Hopefully they take the first 2 plates beforehand. They know that they have no TPs across the board, so they should be able to do this, but... Tanking a lot of tower. Surely they do take these first 2 towers before popping this Herald, I believe. Director Cam doesn't want to show us. Yes, they are. This is the gold efficient way to anyone listening. If you take the first 2, you then get the as a play happens in the bot side.
Well, something's happening on the bot side of the map, as you say. Chance of Crouch is going to find his way into Lee Sin. He's going to make sure that Zandia gets out safe, but Zypher, of course, is going to be the trade back. And there's the Herald crashing into the top plate. The Herald is always guaranteed to take 2 plates, as we were mentioning, and since plates get tougher, the more you take, of course, using the Herald on the last 2 just makes life easier. So you drop the first 2, or the first 3 plates as easy as you can, and you let the Herald do all the hard work with the last 2. Nice and simple. He gets that tower in exchange for a kill on more.
And now this massive gold lead has appeared on this Fura. Getting that solo kill, getting those heralds, as we've seen the virus getting caught here.
Great kicker onto Zandia, going to flash around the long side. Lozzie going to be able to survive with the Triumph. I think that one was very close.
Definitely the Triumph.
So yeah, great dive here, making sure that they're getting used since they were losing time with Herald on top side. So looking for gold on the other side of the map. Now a 3-in-1 Draven with a first completed shield bow. Looking a little bit scary.
Yeah, Draven feeling very happy with this. I mean, obviously due to his passive, he slowly gains up this ability so that when he finally does get the kill, he cashes in on how many autos he's done with his passive. And I mean, it looks like he's been doing a lot because he's gathered quite a gold lead for himself, as we're seeing Harry go a bit aggressive here.
Harry going to be aggressive here, but did get caught out on the Charm, so Charm's not yet available, but there's aggression here on the bot side as Felix has found himself in here with the TP, and that's going to be a kill, I think, onto that Draven, but they kind of leaving it. Oh, no, okay, Thresh going to pick up that shutdown as well. I'm not sure what happened in mid lane, but the ultimates were popped, and both of them seem to be alive, so I assume whatever it was close. And Zypher going to be quite happy 3-2 on Thresh. It seems like it's the Zypher support. Zandia support, sorry.
Yeah, Thresh taking that kill there. Sort of hurts a lot. That was a 600 gold shutdown. That could have been very useful for the Varus to be able to come back into this game, but overall, pretty good comeback. The Fura TPing down, able to influence the other lanes. Game it just went onto that Thresh. Hopefully he builds the items to be able to influence other lanes with this, as he's about to get caught.
He's going to find himself caught here by Lozzie. I don't think, the kick's not up yet. He flashes the other side of Zypher just for fun. As the Maokai ult comes in, he's going to use that movement speed from the crowd to find his way on there. And there's the Great Flay interaction they were talking about before. Zandia are going to get a nice arrow through 3, but it's not going to be enough to deter Primordials from getting that kill. Maybe a little bit ambitious checking into the river there when you know you're already on vision next to the skull. Looks like Drake's going to be the yield of that one again, so that's 2 Drakes in the pockets of Primordials, looking to get that scaling a late game win condition already. Let's see what dragon it is on the cards. It's what, Mountain or Infernal? They'll be praying for an Infernal, I suspect, since they are currently ahead all of 300 gold. And there it is, there's the Infernal Drake they had been praying for, the gods coming up in Primordial's favour. Maybe looking for something here as the priority in the Tribush Lozzie in the vicinity as well.
Miles is going to get seen out here by the sapling.
Going to be tossing sapling, as you say.
Oh, it does
be looking to clear this wave.
Notice the Melkar's items here. He is going for the Imperial Mandate, so he is going for the sapling build. I guess he has. I got a feeling he's maxed something else first, but late game, those saplings are going to get very annoying and be able to stack onto everyone during those fights, allowing a passive stack of about, I think it does, what, 140 damage per hit, as we see Fura go aggressive here on the top level.
Going to get creep blocks, preventing him from proccing too many vitals, and the TP going to deter him from that as well. Nine is going to land the charm before the riposte can come in. There's a TP to follow up as well, just baiting them in for a little while Roshan, and the flash in here from Long Willy Man's going to find himself a parry onto the Showmaker. He's been made a show off. In this case, Nine is going to be trying to get himself away from this one, but Lozzie's here to turn this one around.
Nice
Great flash there from Harry to get out of the kick. The Dragon's Rage is not going to find too many people. Another dash here away from the Sonic Wave, and Lozzie also being made a fool of. Felix gets a kill and gets out fire, and even the what is that? Execution is calling? No, that's the item. I'm trolling.
The Draven the big spinning axes from Draven.
Spinning axe? Spinning wheel?
I don't care. Whatever it is, it's Draven's massive.
Not the Martian. What am I? Okay, actually report me after this game as Lozzie looking to make something happen. Something you want to be honoured for, not reported for, is the Elans. As you see the shotgun flip here onto Ninus. I'm going to respect that when I walk away.
Honestly, this play's
got not a lot of rewards.
This play's getting super aggressive here. I mean, somehow it's still coming out in Yar's favour. They're flipping the coin and they're getting away with it here.
Oh, I put the coin away. What was I doing? I should have kept it on the table.
What were you doing?
Flipping the coin and getting away with it. And as we were saying, Draven has come up heads as he did so earlier. And I am going to point this out as a support main myself and yourself. Look at those control wards on Primordial side. Bit stocked up, more so than Yara at the moment, so they're looking to make a good play around whatever comes up next, and it looks like to me there's a Herald spawning in a couple of seconds, so I think maybe if we're looking to keep our eyes on where the action might be, it'll be around that top side, or perhaps on the spot side. That bot lane does look a little bit diveable. There's not a lot of mana here. There's not a lot of health on this tower either. It almost looks exactly the same, about a third apiece mana to tower ratio. So I'll have to see what they decide to do with these control wards. I find it curious, right? Because it's one of these games where there's been a lot of action, but it's been close, right? Maybe there's only one kill in an advantage at a time. So objectively, not a lot's happened. There's only been one tower so far, and it's normally as soon as play goes down, you'll start to see the rest of them go down. Of course, plays are going to be down for 1 minute 20 at this point. He's looking for something, and they're going to sweep just to make sure that he's not spotted. He's going to walk around the alcove quite wisely, but they are losing time on this top side. Harry going to be using the vision control on top side to make use of that. So...
Leeson should land this. He's slowed.
Oh, he stepped out of the bush.
No.
Oh no, Lozzie stepped out of the bush. Harry stepping out of the shroud here to tickle with Roshan. Going to get a little bit of extra, hitting the wave and Roshan at the same time.
Meanwhile,
here we are.
Leeson's been sitting in his bot side, but Volibear's been getting his Herald. Seems like they've had a handshake deal this whole game. You guys go for the Drakes, we'll go for the Heralds, we'll take the towers, the objectives. You guys can take the Drakes, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep our eyes on what Mars decides to do with this Herald. Has the Divine Sunder complete as well? These first items across the board are just about completed. Mandate shy here on...
Volibear's standing behind it. Is he going to ult over this wall to get this... He's thinking about it.
Looks like they were looking to dive. They had thought about it, as you say, but since Roshan has spotted this one out, they're going to ult. Anyway, Nina's caught on the backside of this. As Set's pushed off the wrong side of this play. Double Charms and Double Dash is going to keep Mars out of range here. But
it could be a base race. They're both going for towers. They're both...
A base race at 15 minutes, you would love to see it, but here's the flash kick here onto Zypher. He's going to flash just alongside the wall rather than over range. Everything probably going to...
It's a base race.
Nicest speed trading on the backside with the Herald. Probably going to win this race as well as Roshan going to find a Showmaker and a Showstopper onto 2, but he's not going to get the Haymaker off and survive that one in time. Felix going to be surviving that one as well. Has the TP to make something happen. It looks like Yar are winning this base race by a mile as they take the inner tower as well.
Stop the recall.
Thresh, Zaniak going to stop the recall. He's even going to find a pick here and 700 shutdown onto... Lozzie also going to be caught on the backside as well. He's sleeping in the shop, I think. The Aftershocks proc, there's not a lot they can save, and he's not got a lot of mana either. Varus, now with the Dustblade, has a lot of opportunity slow here. And another arrow, look at that cooldown. That's just insane. Flash 4 to get the last proc and another 400 gold. That's 1100 gold here for Zendia. And there's so much more with the towers and the inhibitor.
And Varus is back in the game. I'm happy they didn't take the inhibitor topside, because that would just leak XP and gold into them. But let's be fair, they got 2 towers for that. 2 kills, and on the backside, Zephyr didn't even go down, I believe. He is able to flash out and get away with it, if I'm not mistaken. So now they're in a perfect position to come and contest this Drake. Their Fiora's in a massive gold lead position here. Let's just look at the gold graph, and it's about 3k up on this Fiora. I think if she walks into anyone here, she can one-shot them.
Yeah, she's definitely able to 1v1 just about anyone, but I don't know about 2v1 or stuck in a team fight. We'll have to see what Primordials can do. They find themselves short of the river here. They're split across this wall that keeps them divided. All of Yar are assembled. All of these waves are pushing in here as well. They're going to start with the Dragon as Yar. Smites are both available for both of these junglers. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm going to press 8 and get ourselves ready for a team fight as here it comes. Here comes the engage here from Malkai. I'm going to be standing at the front. And a great shuffle riposte here from Willie Man gets himself in between the team, but he's going to get Showmaker in there as well. The great kick comes out. There's just so many numbers and so much damage. I can't even tell what's going on. Ninus is alive. Lee Sin is alive, but the agencies are going down as well. So Thomas Draven is keeping himself alive. Harry onto the backside is able to get him up with the stopwatch on the back end of it. Hook finds its way onto Ninus, going to stop him from getting onto Zandia. The junglers are alive, most importantly. There's 4 members alive for Yar, even more so. Ninus, Sound Vision, I don't think they know. Going to look for something. The hook is a little shallow. Lozzie looking to get himself here onto this Drake. Drake onto 5k, 2 100 health. Almost into smite range if they're able to connect the combo. Harry going to be kiting out Lozzie, making sure he doesn't get in. He's going to blow him up instead. That's the perfect execution, keeping him out of that Drake. Ninus going to be caught on the backside. The hook this time is still a little shy as Mars uses the ult. He didn't have it for that fight, I'm not sure. Might not be able to get himself out of here. He's going to look for maybe a little more, keep Ninus out that way, but that's a win for Yar. What a fight.
Akali go bro, destroys backline. What can I say? Akali dashing and diving everywhere.
She went to work.
I will say a slight mistake there by the Fury going in to use the riposte on the Maokai ulti, when really I believe that the Thresh should have tanked it for him so that she could have riposted the Akali E. But at the end of the day, Harry steps up. Harry gets in the backline. He goes bro. He destroys them all. And I mean that's a free Drake that they're now feeling happy in this game. And they've got a gold lead for the first time, sitting at about 2.5k, coming straight back into it.
Yeah, and they're also denying that slowly stacking Drake win condition. They've put that on another 5-minute timer just about, as well as stacking up their first perhaps of 4 Infernal Drakes, which will go a long way to making sure that Harry can do very much more burrowing in the future. Felix and, well, just the Pope from Sandiar as well. All of them will be happy to see an Infernal Drake. We'll be happy to see maybe a kill if Felix can find one here. It does pop the ult here onto Lozzie, but I don't know how much opportunity he can get unless he procs it. But the kick's going to prevent that one. It's going to expire by that point. The Lantern is here in time, but he just has enough damage in the TP to follow as well. Mars is here in vicinity. Now, all of them are here in the vicinity. Rashad is going to flash to the other side of the wall and find the 2 other members he was missing out on. And that's a red buff victory for Yar.
That's a Baron. That's a Baron.
There's the little cherry. Maybe a big cherry, as you say, could be the Baron. The Baron is on the cards. It has been for just about 30 seconds here.
Purple worm, time to go for it.
We love ourselves some purple Collins, we do. The big old worm, the big old caterpillar, and juicy gold and juicy buffs. To secure this one, I don't think they're going to be contested. There's no smite, as you say. Is Draven going to come by? They're going to see that they're on it. Nice, just a little grind, just a peep, say hello. Remind you that Draven's here. He came up heads, but his tails have a mid-game has been definitely not in favour of Primordials.
Oh, Thresh lands up
here in the middle. As
the guy's going in.
The Malcolm's going to come in. It kind of goes in, does connect the spells despite the root. Going to get knocked back.
Hook lands again.
Here. Second hook in this team fight. Second flare as well. The was going to get locked up. He's under his tower just about, but you can't really be sure.
Nice flash.
Great look here from Zypher. Going to give an opportunity to land a third hook. Zymd are going to flash his way into range of Lee Sin just to make sure that they get out, and a second lantern as well.
You can't blame the Lee for flashing. You can't blame the Lee for flashing to chase after this Thresh, because the Thresh is the one who keeps taking all these kills. He's the carry now. He is the one who can charge.
He has the second most kills on the app out of the 20. He has a quarter.
He goes to the bot lane and says, "I am the captain now," and just runs that. I will say, I was excited. I was thinking, based off this early game, it could be fun to be doing the first ever game 3 that we've done, but yeah, I've really denied that opportunity from us. And I don't know if you know this, but game 3 is when I do play-by-play and Brett does color casting, so that would have been hilarious to watch. So,
oh, really? Oh, we would love that.
So, being denied that by the looks of it so far. There is still a chance of a throw, but I think Yara are running away with this one.
Yeah, they've kind of recovered, right? Yara is a team... I don't know why I set it up, that we would like to think... we know, right? We've seen it before. They tend to have really strong early games. That is typically the best way to play the game at the moment, and they do it super well with their priority. They have typically winning lanes, and they do that super well. This time, they didn't necessarily win their lanes, but through this mid-game, they've been a bit more patient, a bit more concerted, and a bit more, I guess, considered about the plays they've been making. And of course, their team fighting has been to par as per normal. Primordials definitely still had a good showing. These fights haven't been easy, per se.
Well, they're winning heavily right in the early game, but it was the uses of Herald to get this Fiora so far ahead, and then that Fiora taking that TP, using it bot side to establish that lane. Oh, great play here.
Oh,
ulti, just a slam dunk straight onto her head. No chance of reaction to that.
Not gonna lie, I lagged there. I saw the chains come out, and then I saw the volley bear pop ult, and as soon as I lagged for 2 seconds to come out the other side, there's just a dead Ari. There's nothing she could have done about that one. I don't even have to describe it to you. But yeah, as you're saying, right, it's just been a great sequence of plays, right? Utilizing these heralds, making sure the gold's going where you want it. Apart from, of course, Zypher picking out some of these kills. But I don't know. I feel like he's been worth 5 kills so far this game, especially most recently. With that play in mid lane, as Felix going to be really pressuring this inhibitor with his Baron buff. He's attracted 4 people up there, but of course there's time for Yard to make plays happen on the other side. There's the riposte. They're now open to use this CC, so you got to get him back.
Everyone wants the big man. Everyone wants a big one. They're all chasing
Everyone wants a piece of the Fiora. No white flags here for Felix. Hook going to be a little shy this time. But Harry going to find himself another tower. So yeah, a lot of this gold is going to be built in these towers. It's going to be out to Primordials to make sure that they pick the right time to make a last stand. They did pick up a shutdown here onto Fiora, so maybe now is the opportunity, but they did spend quite a bit on it. If they can catch a member out of line here, might be able to get something before they can base with all this tower gold that they've just accumulated. There's a flight back here onto the wolves and the box and the ignite just to pick that one up. Zandia here now looking to get himself in a better position because there's members here from Primordials be able to make something happen. Let's see what it is. It's now a 4 versus 4 as a lock up here. The hook's a little wide, but the redemption's still in good place, and Mars being able to get all those in here as Felix is now alive and TPing back into the play. Arrows and hooks just slightly a little bit short, but Mars is not looking to come up short here as he's charmed and knocked up. Going to get the stun here onto Lozzie. That's the Lee Sin out of the way. The hook's a little shy again, but Fiora's here. It doesn't really matter. The showstopper's going to put Fiora into a much better position. Harry's now opened up to the backline as well. It's just the Draven. He's been flipping heads for most of this game, but the rest of the team's now coming up tails. Now we've reached into this late game. Felix is alive. He's been flipping heads all day, and he's not going to be stopping cutting people's heads off on the back end of it. Zandia wants a piece of this action as well, but I think he's getting a piece too many. That's the heads there for the Draven. He gets 900 gold shot down. He might be looking for a little bit more as Fiora is a little bit overdue. Harry looking to get out as well, but maybe waiting on cooldowns. But here's the massive spinning blades. There's another kill onto the Draven, and almost a second one as it goes over to Maokai. But you take those if you're Primordial. Zypher with his eyes on the eject. He gets the inhibitor, but that is such a win for Primordials in what was looking like
just focus the inhib, Thresh. Go for it. Go for the inhib, please.
He's not going to focus the inhib, but he's going to.
It's a good death.
His 150 bounty.
Honestly, that last team fight, we were seeing Harry at his finest saying, "If you can dodge a wrench, you can't dodge me." Anyone knows that reference? Great, but overall, I feel like they overcommitted. That they could have just gone for that top inhib instead of trying to chase for that Draven. Instead, they lose this.
Sorry, I just got it.
Yeah, thank you. Throwing me off track here, but they lost Drake because of that, because they decided not to go for that top inhib. The Thresh had the right idea. The Thresh nearly soloed it himself, but imagine if Harry and Fiora had gone there, they could have been able to get that push off, maybe even heal a bit off of the minions there. Shame, but they handed over some massive shutdowns. This Draven probably picked up about 2k from that, and the Maokai picked up 1k of his own as well, so...
Yeah, it puts this game in now a kind of a long position, right? Because you're waiting for the Baron to come up. The Baron buff you had is now worn off, and the shutdowns have come over, and Primordials now regained some of the control outside of their base. Because before, like you were saying, that they were playing at their base level, right? You see from Yar's position, right? You had to fight. Mars was pulling the trigger on one end. You had the gold advantage. You could definitely run them over, but it just didn't happen that way, right? For whatever reason, maybe Hook was a little shy, maybe the redemption was a little short, but Harry's going in, he's looking to come up big on this one, right? Going to be looking to use the Haymaker properly, but it doesn't even get to, he's just blown up. He's kind of a tank, but he hasn't built any MR, what am I talking about? With a Riftmaker and a 90 stack Med Giant to two massive rods. Harry's going to be giving one of those rods to Raishan.
I think Fiora's got one of those, but I could be mistaken.
Well, it does have 3 items. None of them are rods. If Fiora started building rods and started one-shotting people with the riposte, I'd be impressed. Zypher looking to land the hook, does so onto the Baron. If only could get a couple more of those onto... I can't flame, I miss hooks all the time, what am I talking about? Just getting himself onto the Baron. Felix might be a little overextended here, or as you say, Felix. Lozzie looking to ward hop here, gets the slow, procs the bone blowing, that's down for 45 seconds, there might be the opportunity here. Zypher going to use the redemption to make sure he doesn't execute to the Baron again.
I felt it was just a BM redemption there, just to prove a point that he can throw it out wherever. He doesn't need it in that team fight. He's feeling himself. He doesn't need it. I'd like to see a bit of a split, letting this Fiora just go straight for this inhib. Maybe they play for bot side instead of playing for this mid side instead, because then it takes them so much. It's so much harder for them to contest both points as a 5-man. So that's what I would do personally in this situation. But they go for mid. Lee Sin's going in here.
Let's look for something. Gets the flash here out of Thresh. Mars caught on the rear side of it. Sampling a little short of the bush, but that doesn't matter because the inhib is the much more important point I should be talking about. Secured there by Felix. Harry on the butt side as well, making this 1-3-1.
Listen, what are you doing? About. Oh no, the hook goes wide.
Hook a little shy again of Lozzie. Gonna be a little bit of a shame, but I don't think it's not. It doesn't really matter. You're getting what you wanted. You're drawing them across the map. Felix now joining them in mid lane to create some more of this pressure. They're still going to have to answer the top lane as the super minions are making their way halfway through the map at the moment.
You just got to remember.
Buff gonna be connecting with these minions. Zypher clearing some of this vision. Mars stepping on the other side, and that's it just dies. The tower, it was there. It's not.
Harry's going in on the backside.
Primordial might be in the same situation. Lozzie gonna be caught on the backside, kicks away. Harry gonna go golden, buy up some time. Gonna buy some space for this mid inhib. He's gonna use the perfect execution to get out. Use the Shuriken flip to get out the other side. Keep your eyes on Say Thomas. He's the gold for Primordials. He gets 1 kill, and it's on to Harry. He's still alive. Felix gonna have to flash away as well. Serek's procced as well. Here's the redemption off cooldown gonna be used. Lozzie going low. Another missed hook here from Zypher. That could be very crucial. Say Thomas going to be locked up, and that's a big showmaker there from Raishan. He's going to get a big haymaker on the backside of it as well. This is opportunity here. Lozzie gone down in the backside. Here's another kill. Zandia going to get to use some of this poke he's been building up this entire game quite comfortably now at 7-4. Trying to compete with this Draven at 8-4. Draven unable to find his way in there. They're slow on that hook and just kiting. It's good enough there from Yar, but again, it's not a convincing win despite the 10k God lead.
Yeah, Draven just untouched on that backside, just really been able to get away with pretty much murder.
Mm.
Able to pick up all those kills on the backside, so not feeling great there for Yar. They really need to find a way to get onto this Draven, not prioritize this Lee Sin.
Yeah, Lee Sin unable really to get too much out of there, but it did pick up Harry and force him to use that stopwatch, which I suspect would have otherwise been time spent trying to kill the Draven. So I guess there's great coordination and utilization there from their abilities to make sure that Primordials had a team fight they wanted, and it definitely did go their way. Yar unable to execute perfectly, as you might expect, of Akali to get onto that backline. Gonna have to see what happens here. This is sole point, I will mention, for Primordials, looking to get this Infernal Drake. That is a huge denial from Yar, but also a huge opportunity to start to win these fights more convincingly, or maybe some on their own terms, should they find their way into this Drake. I would be impressed if they do, since they do have 2 inhibitors down, but if they can find something around these inhibitors, or find someone caught off guard, or get a pick onto some of these gold or carries, that could be very, very influential. Make this game, even despite the gold difference, closer
Well,
than we think.
the pause is coming through here. They're looking to see what they need to set up here. I believe it was triggered by Mars, but I think Yar just need to sit in this bot side, get this pushed out just before this Drake comes up now. They can then retreat to this Drake, knowing that the other waves are going to push in themselves with these super minions. So really, they want to take this They want to take this Drake. Should be uncontested and go straight down to bot lane, get this third inhib, and then push for the end.
Oh. Yeah, so we have the subsidiary pause on the back end of that. I'm sure it'll be over quite shortly. But just to draw everything to this point, the game is very much in favor of Yar, despite the current defeats in the team fights most recently. The setup here for us is we would expect them to be focusing on this bot side, especially since it's the last standing tower and it's their best route into Drake. You can see already in that bot side, there are 2 patrol wards flanking Zypher on that minimap. They have very much control of the spot side as the game now resumes. So we're looking for Yar to try and make a play either around this tower or around this Drake to force Primordials into something they aren't going to win, hopefully this time, and or just get the Drake and then win out from there. Primordials are going to have to be careful, because if you could look on the minimap, you'll see they have to contend with these 2 super minions walking down mid and top lane. They're going to have to send their carries. Draven's all the way out there. They know they take this one with just 3 members. Harry and whatever is safe. They have no vision, do Primordials, of this Drake, so they're going to lose out on this soul point, and that's the second Drake here for Yar. So now looking with that bonus damage to make sure that these fights are not as close, are a lot more decisive, and trying to get that second Nexus. 31 minutes on the clock at the moment.
Mars flashing in.
Some heads, but here's a flash from Mars straight onto Ninus, and it's going to go golden straight onto the backside of it. Keep your eyes on Zandia and their carries. The tower has been disabled. The dive's going to come through. No Dragon's Rage available anymore. But here's Felix untouched with the GA as well. The perfect execution finds its way onto Ninus and the other members. St. Thomas is now arriving. He's the one that's been flipping heads all day, but he hasn't been here. He's not been flipping coins this fight. Anderside will find 4, but he's not going to find too much else. Going to be looking to get something else here, but it's not going to be enough because there's a double kill here now for Harry and the hook that Matt is lands, and it finds its way straight onto Draven. He doesn't even get to flip a coin this fight at all, and
it's over.
Finally get the win they want. They finally get the Drakes. They finally get what they need, and they finally find a hook onto Draven, and they get that Nexus in the end after a 32-minute bit of a tension riser in the end. But you'll be happy to see it, does Yar. What a battle that one was unsuspectedly. Oh, that's loud. Damn.
That was loud. Yeah, crazy last fight there. I'm really surprised. Draven's topside just sitting there getting this farm, not thinking about what would happen bot side. They have so much engage tools on. Yeah, Draven was just sitting topside clearing minions, whilst the rest of them are fighting. He finished clearing the minions before he came. He didn't even throw the R down. So like in the previous fight that they won, their Draven was untouched, and in that fight, the Draven was untouched because he wasn't there. So I think it just. They needed to send someone else, because Draven is your team fighting power in this game, and they just decided to go top, and they just opened up that bottom inhib, and they got away with it.
Yeah, I think Draven there was using the caster skin, whatever it's called, Primetime Draven, and as the skin says, a bit of a miscommunication there meant that Draven was not fighting at all, which is a shame, really, because Draven was very much... funnily enough, we were flipping the coin, and it's very much kind of Draven versus the world in this game. Not to say that the other members weren't doing their work, but in terms of... You just look at the scores of this post-game, right? Felix was popping off in the Fiora. Zandiel managed to get himself back into this game after that bot side trade when they were pushing in topside. So Harry as well sat there at 12-3, just eating up the Magi stacks the world could give him. So it was very much up to Draven and the team to keep Draven alive so that they could win these fights, and well, yes, your Draven's alive, but like you said, he's not there, so you can't win these fights anyway. A bit of a disappointing end there for Primordials. I think they've been doing well to recover themselves in these fights, but the last one just doesn't go their way in the end. And finally get the execution they were looking for in those fights, finally get those hooks that cement that one, and of course the Nexus goes their way in a quick 2-0.
Yeah, honestly, very well played towards the end. I thought it was a bit of a rough early game, but they were able to bounce back through that through the Herald plays, really. Mars being able to pick up the perfect time to get these Heralds, sneak them away, trade it for Drake at times, and then just put it onto this top Fiora. And then Fiora was able to then translate that through. And then meantime, you just got Harry sneaking in the mid lane with, an impressive game of 12, 3, and 8. I mean, that's surprising. And as you said, well, as we saw in the last team fights, he's dash, dip, and dive in throughout the whole way. So honestly, it's overall just really well played across the board.
Yeah, and just thinking there, right, I was going to make the point that it's pretty much both these side laners, right? They're able to draw multiple members at a time, maybe even go 1-for-1 or etc. And Zypher was always there to answer, but it kind of felt to me like 2018 G2, right, when they went to Worlds and there'd be RNG3 split push. It kind of has that vibe, right? It's very much dedicated towards, right, we're going to put gold in the Fiora, and Harry's going to do well because he's perk Z. We're going to put them in the side lane once we reach this mid game.
This is one way to give our players an ego, compare them to G2. Just these.
Just stylistically, maybe not the level, but stylistically, right? It's that 1-3-1 composition that they're executing at the time. And you kind of saw it there. Primordials, they had to send multiple members to answer Felix, and it normally went at least even, which is fine because you're winning somewhere else on the map because you now have a numbers advantage.
Yeah, they had great escapes, honestly. The Fiora on the top side and the Akali, both great escape artists. Honestly, they were jumping in and out all the time.
Great lanterns as well.
Oh, yeah, some great lanterns. A few missed hooks on some stun targets, but then again, sometimes those can be somewhat surprising. So you can't put any blame on him for those. Honestly, they bounced back in the bottom side through the Fiora coming down, but that was only viable because of the focus with this Herald, the top side. You got the full tower gold onto him and the volley bear, and then you got the second tower where they just went, we don't care what you, Draven, Malachi, and Lysina are doing in the bot side trying to push. We're going for your inhib tower. We're just going to take this Herald and go straight there. And honestly, it worked really well. Volley Bear just getting the ulti off to stop the Herald from taking too much damage from the first tower, and then going to the second one, they're diving. The Herald's still tanking some of the damage, and then all of a sudden, then they just have to hit it twice to take it down. And all of a sudden, then you've got an open inhib the whole game. You have to keep going back to protect because you don't want to drop it. So it became you pretty much put them on a leash to that Nexus the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think it's a good look for Yara as well, right? Last season, they didn't seem to do too well from behind. They definitely won some games from behind, but the kind of pattern was you got ahead and you won. And from my experience that I cast with Bastard Esports, it is kind of a similar story. They had an immense early game. They played a lot of Akali and a lot of these early game champions and kind of winning bot lanes. They just draft to win every lane. That's what they did. But they had this issue where if they happened to throw these leads or they couldn't reliably get ahead or comfortably get ahead, their mid game was a little bit appalling. So the fact that Yara able to come back from a behind position and still show up and recover to a point where they still had that typical lead anyway, I'm happy to see. I'm glad to see. But it's also a good look, I guess, for Primordials, right? Being able to go toe-to-toe with perhaps one of the better early teams in the league. I'd be biased, of course. But still, that's still props to Primordials, right? They had a bot lane that won 2v2s. They're able to find some counter picks, or a successful gank, in the top lane as well. So there is a world where Felix doesn't get ahead and he gets put behind on this set. And Set's the one picking up these solo kills instead. So still a fine look from Primordials. It's a shame that it was a 2-0. I think they could maybe put us to 3 and given us the caster role reverse as we would like to maybe not seen, or I don't know. I don't know what people...
Oh, yeah, I don't know how it would have gone, but either way, it's something to look forward to in future. But honestly, I think it was great to see. I think Primordials did take both the early games off of Team ER. I think that's something that we need to regroup, rethink about. I don't know if it's just the playstyle that they picked for those games, but honestly, both times they were just saved by that man in the top lane. Every time he got that massive lead, and that's what helped them get through that early game, and then translate it to get to that mid game where they were able to get the right fights, get him involved. And I'd say the first game could have looked completely different if that Trin had TP instead of Ghost, because he could have been at those fights where the KO was able to translate not only the lead that she'd gathered, but then all of a sudden then you've got you've got a Kale who's really far ahead, and then they've got one less member at that fight. So that's how they're able to come back in that first game, and into the second game, you can see that the set went for the TP. But again, this set is 1-9. This game, it just shows how much this top lane has been playing so far above the opponents he's been playing against in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a Flame Horizon as well. And to that point, right, Felix is the sub, right? He's come in because Selenity's unavailable, and we've got like a 3-man flex going on. So coming into next week, I assume we'll be back to our normal roster, unless something else happens. I believe we are back to the standard roster we were seeing from last split. So maybe, again, these drafts look completely different, or maybe the early game is maybe a little bit more reliable. I can't really speak to the influence because I'm not so deeply involved with the team in that sense, because we have the coach to cover that one instead. So yeah, I think next week is going to be super curious. We do have the opportunity to speak with Felix if we wanted. I don't know if that's something you're in for at the moment.
Yeah,
some questions.
We can do. I just need to unmute the chat, not unmute it, unlock it, because
Okay.
previous times we've had people walking into this chat asking us all sorts of questions. So yeah, I've unlocked it. He's welcome to come in, but if anyone else comes in, that cast might be cut short very quickly. So
hovering the button. But yeah, I guess until Felix or somebody joins us, who knows, rolling the dice. Yeah, I guess we can talk about week 3, right? I know Zypher is not really so much of a Fiora player. I'm sure he can play Fiora pretty well, but the style Zypher tends to play, I know, leans maybe towards more tanks or kind of hybrids, and not so much carries. So week 3, I suspect, will be a very different look. We'll have Mars back in bot lane as well. I feel like the short calling remains very much the same. I have played with Mars before, and I know Mars, when I was more intertwined with the team, is the kind of short caller within game. Both support and jungle roles mesh that pretty well. And I think you see that pretty convincingly in these games. A lot of the plays have to be around Mars, or Mars is engaging first, even when they have the opportunity just to walk in. It's normally Mars pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I've heard that Mars runs a lot of the a lot more of the bot lane players, but obviously their main jungler, I've heard, is their new shot caller for their early game. So it'd be quite interesting to see how the shot calling changes going into the next game, because I feel like in the last couple of games we've seen, they've had more focus on these heralds instead of the drakes. I wonder if that'll change going forward into week 3. We'll see which one they focus more, because I personally like the herald. I like the gold that it gives you, the instant bonuses, but the drakes, those mount up. Some of the skills, some of the things you get from the early games in those, like even if it's just a single infernal, that'll scale really well with you, and late game you can really feel it. But maybe if it's an early Drake's Cloud Drake, I'd rather just leave it, give that to him. But obviously the pressure of soul is very important. So
yeah, I think I highlighted it kind of well in that last game, right? In a world where lose one of those fights and that last Drake is up, they could be fighting now for the rest of the game into an Infernal Soul, and they have to play around an Elder instead, right? And that's a very different look to a game, I feel like. So
yeah, I will say
that's somewhere we can target.
I will say I am liking the look of this bot lane for Yard. I feel like they've been playing super aggressive during the series. Since Zephyr's been the support, they've played very aggressive, and for the most part, I know that this game it went a bit negative with a couple of picks, but that was just because of, I think, Zephyr's inexperience on Thresh. But either way, it was a great look. They're constantly fighting, and I know sometimes those fights can go bad, but you need to be good, as Camp says. So I feel like it's a good way to play the game. I feel like it's going super aggressive in these lanes is what I like to see from this bot lane.
Yeah, it looked to me like a bit of a honeymoon. I know Xander and Zypher have played together for quite some time. I don't know how much experience they have in bot lane together. I know Zypher's secondary is support. So yeah, it definitely didn't look out of place, and they didn't look like out of place together. Maybe there were sometimes Thresh shouldn't have gone off warding or whatever. Maybe he was relying too much on the Lantern, and Xander or either one got picked on the back end of it. In this game in particular, I think there was one moment. But outside of that, like you're saying, right, they were playing super well together. They're playing aggressive. They seem to be on the same page. And even in the first game, right, we expected them to suffer maybe into the Tristana Leona, but it was very much the other case. And this game, it started off the same case as well. Draven was put to half, and I think he lost a couple of minions under that tower thanks to the poke. So yeah, definitely a great look from this bot lane. I haven't heard back about an interview, and nobody's joined us, so I think we might close this one off.
I got a feeling the interviews are going to be skipped this week. Hopefully, we might have a couple of the players onto the Wales Weekly podcast, maybe, or talk show.
Awesome.
That could be quite fun going forwards. Probably not this week. I believe we have the CS:GO, some of the CS:GO players coming onto that. So,
Nice.
if anyone's interested in that, look out for it during the Wales Discord. I'm sure there'll be plenty of links to it, and you'll see me there again. But until then, I guess we'll see you next week. Same Thursday, same team, same casters, versus someone else. So.
Thank you guys for joining us. As you mentioned, same time next Thursday, assuming nothing else comes up. Of course, you can keep your eyes out for our new Wales Weekly podcasts. Of course, thank you to HyperX. We are being supported by them for these streams. Both of our mics are HyperX ones. They send them to us very generously. So thank you again to HyperX. So if you like the quality of our voices, even if not the sound of them, you know where you guys can go. So, of course, thank you again to you guys for watching. You can join us next week. I believe we're playing a new team, Team Chonk IRL. Great name. And we'll have to see what they can bring to us and whether we can get a game 3 or just simply go through as per normal. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.